Hello and welcome to another episode of The Dome Show, a gaming podcast. In today's episode, I sat down with a good buddy of mine, Noah, aka Who Built the Ark. Me and Noah talk about everything from Twitch to streaming to mental health for a content creator and all the ups and downs that come with that. And then, of course, we get into a lot of good discussions about PUBG, the current meta, what can maybe be tweaked, what should be changed, and how we have been enjoying the brand new update for Season 18 with Deston. So I hope you all do enjoy today's episode. If you do, and you're watching us on YouTube with the video version, be sure to give the video a thumbs up, share it with a buddy, and get subscribed if you're new to the channel. If you're listening to us on your favorite podcast app, please be sure to give our podcast a 5-star review, as it really does help us out. As always, timestamps will be down below if you'd like to skip to any specific topics or chapters during the discussion, and all of my and Noah's social media where you can find us on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, etc. All that will be in the description. So thank you guys and gals for watching and listening, and I hope you enjoy the episode. Speaking of your name, Noah.
Yeah, that's me.
You have one of the most creative usernames out there.
I thought you were going to go, speaking of your name, Who Built the Ark? But you went the opposite way. We're going backwards.
Yeah, no. Because I call you, anytime I talk to you or talk about you, I say Noah. I don't ever say
intention.
I don't ever say Who Built the Ark.
Correct.
And so when my wife asked me, who are you doing the podcast with? I said, Noah. And she goes,
Correct.
Who's Noah? I said, oh, it's Who Built the Ark. And she giggled, but I was like, no, that's his like gamer tag, like Who Built the Ark.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, I get it, you know?
That's the whole, that was the intention.
It's creative.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't make it up, but
well,
like,
obviously,
the
the thing the Bible did. The Bible do it?
Well,
who wrote the Bible?
Yeah, well, it's just two parts.
Did Jesus write the Bible?
Part one. What was the intention? Because I was like, oh, I just want people to be able to like call me Noah, but I was like, there's no, like, Noah's not a good handle. I was like, you're never gonna get Noah on like gaming tag.
Right, you have to need some numbers if you're gonna do just Noah.
Exactly, Noah 5022 was still taken. So I was like, oh, like what's a good way to like introduce myself? And I was like, well, when I was younger, like kids used to sing a song to me. It was like, Who Built the Ark? Noah. And I, at the time, didn't know they had learned it in like Sunday school. So I thought they made up a song for me. So it always stuck. I was like, oh, who built the Ark? Me, I built the Ark. So when I was like thinking about like handles and all that, I was like, oh, Who Built the Ark? It's like a tricky way of just writing Noah. Like that's the question, but you can just replace it with the answer, which is my name. So that way people will just
you
like,
didn't know that Noah built the Ark? Like actually built the Ark when you were younger?
No, I knew Noah built the Ark. It was, I didn't know the song wasn't. I thought like
you thought they made the song for you.
Correct.
Gotcha. Not that special.
I thought they were just like, you know what, guys, you know what we should do? We should just make Noah a song today. Like that's what we should do. We should make him a song and sing him the song. And that's what we should. So I didn't know it came from they learned it somewhere. Like,
you didn't
we learned a song that has your name.
I
had no idea.
Okay. You had no idea.
No idea.
I see what you did there. Okay.
Exactly. But so that went into the whole handle of like, so like the intention is like people are like, what do you call, like, what do I want to call you? I'm like, you can call me whatever you want. Like the intention was, you know, to introduce myself as Noah, so people knew my name. So I don't know anyone who really calls me Who Built the Ark. Or most people,
I think people do.
Gamer tag, they'll call it like Ark or something if we're doing it for the first time. But
maybe.
Most of the time, people very quickly just say Noah. Like once they've known you for a bit. But
wait, once
there's no
it clicks.
to call me Noah, you know, because then there's that the flip side too. Some people don't like to like talk real names if they're playing.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So I'm like, there's no pressure to be like, no, you gotta call me my name. Like, no, you could just call me Ark, like to shorten it up. They're like, what do I call you? I'm like, oh, my name's Noah. You can call me Who Built the Ark, whatever.
I have a bad thing where I call people by nicknames all the time, and sometimes I know, and I always like create nicknames for people, or I'll shorten the name that they have given out to other people. And I know it's kind of bad sometimes, because sometimes like they don't want me to shorten it up, but it's just like it's like I just do it. It's like for you, Noah's way the hell shorter than Who Built the Ark, so I just default to Noah every time.
For sure. I think both being streamers, you often are aware that like sometimes people's usernames are just way too many syllables, so you take one part of it, or like sometimes you're like, I don't know what that name is trying to make me say, so I'm not going to say your whole name. I'm only going to say the first word. You know, so like you only just take like a small portion of their name. Like CDome, I'd be like, oh, what's up? like yours is a terrible name. Yeah, I'd be like, oh, what's up, C?
Right.
What a terrible name to say, for example.
Some people do say C. Yeah, some people do say C.
But like, I'm trying to think of someone with like a longer name.
ICUP. Have you ever gotten in trouble with that one?
No, I would be like, oh, what's up, IC? And yeah. That's where I would just like take the first part. If I don't know what the word is, I always just
shorten
the
up.
First, like the little bit in the beginning, always, like every time.
Just to be safe.
Yeah, and now it's just become a habit. Like everybody I talk to is just like, like our buddy Steve the Happy Whale, right? If he came into chat, I wouldn't be like, oh, welcome, Steve the Happy Whale.
No, you say
like,
Steve. Yeah.
Or be like, if it didn't have Steve in it, I'd be like, oh, what's up, Whale?
What's up, Whale? Right.
Exactly. You just take like a little portion and makes life a whole lot easier.
Did you start doing that?
To think of.
I bet. Did you start doing that when you started streaming?
Yeah, probably. And I think it was just out of the habit that people had really long names. Like no, that's like mine. Like, oh, what's up? Who built the Ark? Like, who built the Ark?
It's way too much.
Like, yeah, just they're like, oh man, that's a long way to call it. I'm like, Ark is fine. Whatever person, like whatever you want to call me is fine. But
how long have you been streaming, Noah?
August of the last week of August 2017.
So we're pretty dang close to starting our streams. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So 5 would be next month, right? Because it's July right now.
Yeah, July 21st. Yeah.
Who knows when the world sees this podcast? It could be last month.
It's going to be next week.
So right now it's July. Only up to it. Right now it's July and then August. Yeah, it was the last week of August. And then like this first week of September was when I got affiliate. So that's how I'm just like,
that's pretty quick.
Yeah, I was like, hey friend, like my friends, I was like, can you watch me? Like, but that was also like the nice thing, because I think that's the number one thing people always talk about is like, how do you get people talking? I'm like, if you have a buddy or two, just ask them to like be in your stream. But it is a skill of streaming to talk to nobody. And I think that skill applies. If you can't talk to nobody, you can't talk to everyone, because you have to assume if you're like 10,000 viewers is the same as having 0 viewers. Your chat is unreadable. Like, so the
that's an interesting point.
For sure. And I think that's the entertainment value comes from yourself at that point, So you can engage with chat. That's a part of streaming that you can incorporate in there, but you can't rely on chat to be your engagement, because at certain levels that engagement level is gone. And I even think at some point it will hold you back, because if you are saying you're hitting double digits, it might get to a point where there are people watching and they don't want to watch you engage with every single comment. They're like, it's holding up the entertainment value, of what you're trying to do.
What do you think? Like, what's your opinion on reading comments out loud or reading them in your head and then responding to them out loud? Because I know streamers do it totally different. I do it both ways sometimes, depending on the comment.
I apologize all the time. I usually read things out. When I first started, I used to read their username and read the whole sentence. Then, as time goes on, like sometimes I'll engage, like sometimes I read what they say and I'll comment. Sometimes I'll respond to their thing and say their name, so it's their response there.
Right.
Other times, my favorite is I will read it in my head, respond in my head, continue playing. 5 minutes later, I'll be like, I'm so sorry, did I respond to you? I'm like, I just had a full conversation in my head. Did none of that actually make it to you? And they're like, you didn't say anything. I'm like, yeah, no, I had a whole conversation about it in my head. Welcome, how you doing today? Like, meant to ask you, like, did you ever figure out that problem you were having? Like, all those things. I don't know. It to go back to the question of like, how do I do it? Or like, it's both and none all at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
I think it depends. And I think as a streamer, you feel out what needs, if you're having a moment on stream, if there's like some entertainment or a bit going on, you might not start engaging every single comment.
Right.
Or you might pull a comment that does relate to what you're doing. There's also moments where you are just, maybe are having a more game, but super interaction with the chat. So you are reading every comment, even if it's off topic of what you are.
Yeah.
So it's all up to the streamer and what they're doing, I think, and like the entertainment value of the moment. Yeah.
Like it's noticeable. Like now that I've started to think about it recently, when I go to other streamers and I see them like, oh, and they read out the entire comment, then they respond. Or they don't do that. It's very noticeable which way they do it. I'm like, oh, wow, it's interesting that person chooses to always do it that way or never do it that way, you know?
For sure. I definitely noticed as the viewer counts go up, the more I see is like a response with just a mention of the username.
Yeah.
You know, like I might talk to someone who's, you know, playing PUBG at 2,000 viewers, and I'll be like, oh, that's the setting only for that type of monitor, right? And they're like, exactly, Ark. And I'm like, like they didn't read my comment, but they said the name. I know they were responding to my thing, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's a good way of keeping the flow of the stream going while engaging with the chat and also keeping with what you're going without like breaking from the context. Because it didn't bother anyone who's just there watching, but it did also engage with the chat. And I think that's a good balance.
Do you remember when you first started streaming? Like, can you think about like booting up the stream?
Yeah.
And like the feeling of like, I'm live. I've got 3 viewers. 2 of them are me. One of them is my friend logged in on his cell phone. Like, do you remember those like moments?
I also didn't know how to stream, so I hit stream. I also hit start recording. So a lot of my early streams are I still have the full like 4-hour recording of it.
Yeah.
Like that's how I ended up. I like PUBG was such a big game to play, and I have my first chicken dinner still of that one, like full recorded the whole. Yeah. It's TPP only.
Single fire Scar 3. Or what?
Scar and AK. I only get an SKS at the very end, and I'm crawling around.
Yeah,
and then, like,
thrown out of your mind.
Yeah, it was a wild moment. Yeah, I have a microphone. I was using like an SM57, which is typically used for instruments, not EQ'd at all. It's just like great times. Yeah. No, it's fun to have those.
It is.
You look at it and you like wince a little bit, but then you're like, like I've improved at least.
So you started on PC, right? Like you never were on console. Like you started streaming on PC.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if I told you this like kind of story. Whenever I started
streaming on console,
not only did I start streaming on console, my first webcam was the Xbox Kinect.
Yeah, because you played Xbox console. I remember this because I'm a good friend. I remember all details ever told to me.
But it's a very strange device to use as your stream cam because like nowadays, like it's one of those things like back in my day, like people that stream now, there's like the webcams that we have are 1080p, 60 frames per second. Like they're like super high tech for like hella cheap price. But like back then we had the freaking the Xbox Kinect, and like you had a microphone that was used for like audio instruments and shit. It's just crazy to see how far the technology scale has come, and now the barrier of entry is like way lower. You can get stuff for like really dirt cheap, and it still be good, good to decent quality.
I was using stuff because I was working in the music industry before. I was using stuff that I had just used for like mixing and for recording instruments. So I was like, I think this works. I can plug this here like this. Perfect. Yeah.
Were you a DJ or something? What do you mean work in the music industry?
My degree, I have a business degree in music business.
So what did you do with music like devices?
Well, that was like home use. That was my own thing.
Like a little hobby thing or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like that wasn't like what I was doing in the field with it. Like that was more like working live events and all of that. But like at home use, like especially going through college, you'd be like, oh, I want to record something. So I had a microphone, I had like a mixer for just basic things that you find lying around that you were like, oh, I think I can stream with this.
You can use this, yeah.
I can plug this here. Oh, yeah, no, it's connected to the PC. Like we're good to go. Like this is, yeah.
What's interesting? Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying. So that's just that's how I had that. I didn't upgrade off of the SM57 for some time, and then I upgraded to the SM7B. But like,
which is what everyone almost uses these days.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like the standard.
Like
no, it's totally over. It's totally overkill, and it's ironic because you look at like there is a taper off point to where the quality of your devices starts to not make a difference in the quality of your content. And you look at someone like Nick Merckx, obviously he's at the other end of that spectrum. Headset mic and forehead cam and it does not matter. Like none of that matters. Like top quality content, huge great community. Yeah. But then you have other people like I think I'm on the other end of the spectrum where like I was so focused on like the equipment part of it, and not because I thought that would like boost my stream up. I'm just like a very techie nerd. I wanted to get like, oh, what's the latest and greatest freaking camera and microphone, like, and I love that part of it, but totally not necessary to like actually get off the ground and get going. Clearly,
Agreed.
as
that
seen.
was the same thing as me. Like I upgraded stuff mostly because it was for my own personal preference. Like I liked, having a better visual or a better sound. But
Right.
it does not dictate, better. There's like better viewership or anything.
No.
There's a level of like, you got to have this, or like there's no, like you got to have a face camera and you got to have at least somewhat of an EQ'd mic. Like,
well, maybe not though. You seen those virtual VR streamers, right?
Well, yeah, you gotta have a visual. We'll say you gotta have a visual. Like there's so few streamers who don't have a virtual avatar or
there
a
are few.
camera.
Yeah, few.
Yeah, and they're the unique. They're not the standard by any means. So you gotta
like
have
Water
something.
Dance. Water Dance does not have a webcam,
Correct.
and she is awesome streamer, great
Crushes
community. Yeah. So like there's a few outliers, but typically some kind of webcam, and then like a GoPro that has like a video audio in it or something something like that.
Yeah, there's a bare minimum of like what you need, like you need to be able to like talk, and you need to,
Got to be able to talk. You have to talk, Noah.
Well, there are plenty there are streamers out there that are just like, I just stream content, I don't talk. And I'm like, then they're like, I don't get anything more than one viewer.
You're talking about
like,
hot tub streamers.
They don't talk?
Well, they don't need to.
Oh, I was talking about like people who just stream like gameplay. They'll be like, I run into with PUBG a lot. Like people will be like, man, I stream PUBG all the time, and I'm like, let me look. And I'm like, you're not talking. It's like, I don't have a mic, and I'm like, and like, you don't have a webcam? They're like, no. And I'm like, you just stream content. Like, there's nothing that differentiates you.
Zero.
Sets you. And I think the thing is, like, some people want to know, okay, I'm willing to hang around here if they're serious about it. But if you put out there, they're like, I'm not really serious about it, then people are like, okay, like I want to find someone who's like semi-serious about it.
Right. But also there's people who want a very chill vibe too, and someone who's not like taking it serious, someone who's really just
100%.
It's the go live button, and they just whatever, they whatever. Like
100%.
zero thought into the whole process.
Correct. I think everyone thinks everyone is trying to be like the next big streamer, and some people are just streaming for fun. Like, the first time I ever streamed, I did exactly what I was just saying. I streamed game content. I didn't talk. I didn't have anything. And the only reason I did it was I was playing Dark Souls 3. And a buddy of mine was like, I want to see you play it. And I was like, I don't know, like how.
Right.
And they were like, you can stream on Twitch.
Yep.
So I was like, okay. And I wouldn't even, I didn't have to chat up or anything. Like I would just play the game like I normally would, and they would text me like LOL when I died a million times.
Yeah.
And so many people would see that now and be like, you're never gonna make it. I'm like,
it's garbage.
I was just streaming for my friend to see. And that's the thing, like everyone has different goals with it. I was speaking in the sense of, if you are, if your goal is to grow as a content creator, and you're trying to increase your numbers, and you do have to look at yourself and be like, okay, what am I doing? Am I doing like the minimum requirement that's like the standard almost, but by all means, like people just like to hang out and stream and vibe and all of that, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I think plenty of people enjoy watching streams like that. I was just speaking in the sense, like, if you are trying to grow, like, you probably should be able to talk and probably have some visual.
You kind of need to a little bit. Yeah.
Exactly. But like you said before, there's a cutoff on quality. Like, at some point, it doesn't even matter. Like,
also, like,
quality,
where you stream, it makes a total difference, too. Like, obviously, you and I are on Twitch, twitch.tv/WhoBuiltTheArk. And, they cap us out at 1080p and 6,000 bit rate, right? And like 8,000 for partners. Which is
rumored. Someone said you can do 8,000, not as, I don't know. There's rumors saying you can do it.
I don't buy that.
The standard.
Yeah. I don't buy that. But anyway, so even 6,000 to 8,000 is not that big of a jump. But you go look at YouTube, and you can stream 4K at like a stupid high bit rate. Yep. So like, if you were really like, I want to put out the best looking quality content for your camera, your game, all that, like, YouTube is like the clear choice for that.
Yeah. Well, and they talk about things like that too. Like, to do a true 1080 stream, you need more bitrate really than what you're even allotted. So there's really no reason to be trying to push 1080 because it's like you don't have the fuel essentially to push that. So you might as well just decrease resolution and, you know, top out like a 936 resolution stream. You know,
do you do a custom res like a little bit lower than?
I do a 936.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Interesting.
That's like the metaphor I think that it was explained in is like, you know, think of it like a car, like a 1080 needs like this much fuel to run the most efficient. You're capped out at 8,000, so you're not going to get the most efficient out of it, right? But like 936 only needs this much fuel, and you can cap it out. So it's like, you know,
that is interesting.
To me. It could be completely wrong, but
there's probably some truth to that because like definitely there's an obvious correlation to resolution and bitrate. Like, you know, if you go to a higher resolution, you need a higher bitrate to make it look clean and smooth and all that. So that makes sense. But I do 1086 6000, so maybe I'm not giving the best picture quality that I could give to my stream.
And people always talk about it, and I'm by no means a tech expert on it, but
obviously,
know, like 1080,
do you see what happened before we did the podcast?
So it took a while to get here.
It's like an hour setup time.
Like, you know, 1080 has more pixels to fill, and you're filling those pixels with bitrate. So
right.
If you don't have enough bitrate, you can't fill all the pixels to like their top quality. So like, I guess the idea was lower the amount of pixels and then fill every pixel, and it should look smoother.
Right. In theory, it makes sense, and there's probably truth to that. But also,
one person's gonna know way better than us and be like completely wrong.
No, that's hey, let us know in the comments below. You know, but
yeah, like we just went off on a tangent.
Do you ever look at this whole podcast as a tangent? Do you ever look at your analytics and see what people watch you from, like what devices they watch you from? The majority of devices are, for me anyway, mobile devices. And you're talking like you know, an 8-inch phone or whatever. Like at the biggest is like an 8-inch phone or something. So. Yeah. 1080, 936, 720, it all probably looks damn near the same on mobile.
Probably. And realistically, most are probably not watching it at the highest. They're probably hitting the resolution
auto thing or whatever.
480, 360. Right. Yeah. I'll say, you know, like sometimes like working out, you just want to listen to your whoever's streaming. And I'm like, oh, dude, I put it as low as it can go and just listen, you know, like.
Really? So when you're working out, you put on a stream and just.
Oh, for sure. There's definitely been, there's some streamers that I'm just like, it's fun. Like I'm just listening to it and like whatever conversation there. You know, I think there's visual streamers, there's listening streamers, and then there's both.
Yeah.
But sometimes like the ones that are just like, you know, they're just always talking, doing something funny. I'm like, it's just fun to listen to.
Yeah. It almost is like a podcast for some streamers. Like just their audio portion is like, oh, this is the conversation is interesting enough that I could just listen to this. Like at work, a lot of the times I'm not able to look at my phone, but I have it playing in the background, and I'll do like, I'll lock the phone and the audio will keep playing, and I'll just listen to whatever the heck's going on.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Like you have to become that way. Like 0 viewers or 30,000 viewers, you are the entertainment regardless of what your chat's doing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
I definitely understand because I started at 0. Like I understand.
Still at 0.
The comfortability. I understand the comfortability of just having people chatting in your stream, and it makes it easier to talk. I will 100% say that.
Of course.
You know?
Yeah.
Like you do. There is a different mindset of like, nobody's watching me. Why should I even bother? And end up being like 30,000 people are watching me. Of course, I'm going to put on a show. Well, there is 100% mindset of that, you know, like it's again, when you get a big raid and you find your energy is way up and you're talking more and you're engaging more, you know?
Right.
And it's like, but if you look over and you're like 0, you're like, it could take your energy out. I understand that, you know? So it's not as black and white as just being like, oh, you have this, you know, it's as easy to stream at 0 as it is to 30,000. It's definitely not. Like morale is a huge thing. But you do have to, you know, keep that mindset of being like, I gotta be entertaining at 0 and 10. And I don't say watch your viewer count. It can be a helpful thing, but often people are like, I'm at 0, so I'm not talking. I'll talk when it changes. I'm like, that doesn't change right away. Like people.
It's not live. It's not live, like up to date.
Exactly. People pop in, and if you're not talking interesting, they're out before that number even changes. So you never even see it change. You know, so you have to assume someone's always watching there.
Do you have your view count on typically when you stream or no?
I do, and I use it in this sense. It doesn't determine what I'm going to do or how I'm going to do it. But I always think if you're streaming, you should be streaming quality. So in some days you're able to stream 3 hours quality. Some days you might be like 9 hours quality.
Right.
But you shouldn't feel obligated to stream 9 hours. If you're at 3 hours, you're like, that's my best quality. At 4 hours onwards, it's diminishing. call it. You put out good quality for the day. You want people aren't going to remember how long you stream for, just how the stream was. And if you did good 3 hours, but then you followed it with like a 6 hours, people are just gonna be like, it was an stream. Like maybe I won't stop there again, And I think viewer count can sometimes be a determination of like, okay, it is getting late into the night. I'm streaming. Am I streaming because we're killing it, or am I just streaming for the heck of it because I just like, I'm just enjoying the game? And it's
right.
Like, in the overall, if this is from you're trying to grow standpoint. If you're just vibing, chilling, go for it. But if you're trying to grow, you do have to commit other time to be like, okay, it is fun just to stream right now, but I'm not being efficient with my time. I'm not using it the best. Like I did a good 4 hours. People are calling it a night. We killed it today. If I still have energy to do stuff, I should, hop off, sign off for the night. Maybe I should work on some edits or, work on some content for the other platforms there.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't be a determination, but it can help you like know, maybe like putting you in the mindset of being like, oh, like I am just streaming for myself, not the best use of my time right now. Where I killed it on stream, and people are calling it a night,
Feel attacked.
No, I do it all the time. There are times where I'm like, oh man, I'm like, today was stressful. I just want to keep gaming. Maybe, people are going to sleep. So, your view might be dropping, but like, and I know like, okay, am I streaming because I'm trying to grow right now? Like, no, I'm just streaming just to have fun. Like I'm just feeling good. I want to keep playing games, but there are definitely times when you're like, yeah, I mean, it can be a helpful thing. So like we'll use easy numbers. Like say you're at 10 and you did 3 hours, you're 10 viewers, you killed it. And it's late into the night and it's like, it's dropped down to 5. You're like, well, no, like I'm not really putting on a show right now. I'm just streaming for my own sake. You'd be like, okay, like that's an indication of like, if I have energy, I should hop off. I should work on some other stuff, because we're killing it on stream already. Our content was stopped here. No need to overwrite that with like content maybe I wouldn't want to be associated with, which is like, silent streamers.
But there's also the FOMO that comes in, because what if you're at 10 viewers, okay? So you're at 10 viewers and you are having a great stream. Your energy's up, everyone's vibing, you're doing good in the game.
I'll keep it going then.
But at hour 4, you drop to 5 viewers.
Okay.
But man, I might hit a little spurt at some point throughout the stream where I go from 5 and I go to 30 viewers, where like, for some reason, a lot of people just clicked my stream, or I got hosted or rated or whatever. And so like that little bit of like FOMO kind of keeps you going, maybe longer than you should.
I'd say at that moment, that's where it's your personal decision. You're like, that's what I was saying before. Sometimes you hit this is the great content at 3 hours. And sometimes you're like, I'm going to keep going. Like, like I'm feeling great. The content's good. I'm going to stream for 6 hours, 7 hours. Whenever you hit that point, I just don't think you should force yourself past it and make yourself put out bad content. So in that sense, like, viewer count wouldn't matter. I'd be like, bro, I'm having fun. I'm enjoying it. Hour 3, we've dropped. Doesn't matter. I'm still enjoying the content. We're putting out great content. Keep going. And
I do know.
Like, for sure. That's like more my thing of saying like, a lot of people are like, I only streamed 4 hours today. I feel like I should stream more. I'm like, are you good with 4 hours, or like you're like that? You've hit your mark. You're like in the sense of like, your energy's going down. You're not enjoying as much. Don't force yourself. Like, no, you can call it there. That's fine. But if you're having fun, keep going.
But it's tough, because a lot of us I say a lot of us, probably most of us are gamers first, entertainers / streamers second. And so in one part of your brain, it's like, I'm gaming. I want to keep, like, if I wasn't live, I'd still be gaming. So why not just keep being live? But you also might be putting on a negative side of your channel, like, hey, this isn't really how I normally am most of the stream. But new people don't know that, because if they come into your stream and they see you in your current energy state or whatever, like, this person's not really kind
you
of.
only get one first impression there.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's
you
tough.
don't want to showcase that to them.
It's tough, man. It's tough.
That's what I mean. If you're killing it, you're having fun, and your views are going down, whatever the case is, don't matter. Keep doing it. Keep having fun, because you can also take that content of good content and you can get it out there on other platforms.
If you do that, how many people are doing that, Noah? If you had to guess a percentage of streamers who take a 4-hour or a 10-hour stream and actually break it down and put it out to TikTok, which for PUBG is useless, to YouTube, to Twitter, or whatever. What's the percentage?
Low.
What? I would say I would argue less than 10%. Probably way less than 10% of streamers,
like 2%, maybe 2 or 1%.
Yeah, that actually like go and take their top clips, or who even remembers to clip things in the moment, because that's the worst. If something great happens and you forget to clip the moment, or you don't have a chat because you're growing your channel, and so there's no one there to clip it, and you don't have a stream deck to clip it, you forget about it. When you go to sleep, that's a wrap. You're not going back.
It was part of it. You know, you should be making content on your stream that you would want to put elsewhere, but at the same time too, I think it is also worth taking time aside, not streaming and making content. They're being like, I'm making content, my stream's not on, like, but I am recording this and, you know, bringing
to
that
upload
it,
I think, wherever after.
I think especially when you're smaller too, it's very important. And I think you can relate to this because I see your YouTube and you make original content that I don't see on your stream. If I found you on stream, I hang with you on stream. If you're like, hey, go check out my YouTube stuff I just put out, and I go over there and it's just a recording of your stream, I'm like, I'm not going to watch this. Like I support you, but I just watch this. Like I just watch this live. But you're putting out original content that you took time to make outside of stream. So I'm like, I get to watch him on stream, and then he's got YouTube stuff that I've not even seen before. Like I'm going to go watch it. You know, and I can relate to that specifically because I check out your stream, I watch your stream, and then I see you post a YouTube video. I'm like, he made original content for this platform. I'm going to go check him out and support this platform as well. So I think it is important to do both, to be like, oh, you know, get stuff from your stream, that's good, but also take time aside and make original content for that platform.
Speaking of original content, and this is not me trying to gas you up because you just gave me a load of gas, but when you put out like your Twitter is a great Twitter follow for like not even just PUBG content. Like some of your posts, I can see it. Like some of your posts and this is part of the reason why I wanted to have you on too. Is obviously me and you are buddies, and I really enjoy playing duos with you and squads and all that kind of stuff. But the shit you post on Twitter sometimes is just it's really fun. It's like these out of the box questions. He's like off the fucking cuff. Like, here's a little poll I put out. Like one of the things you posted yesterday was like, why is ice cream so good? And then you asked something stupid like, what was the?
That's a lot of stupid things.
Yeah, yeah. A
little more specific.
Yeah, it's got a lot of stupid things.
Half the things I say are stupid. Like, half the things I say are about ice cream. So this.
I'll just be scrolling and I'll be like, oh, it's Noah, and I'll read it. I'm like, oh, this fucking guy. Like, but it'll make me chuckle. It'll make me laugh. I'm like, God damn it, he got me. He got me. You know, like.
I mean, that's the goal, right? Like just to make people smile and laugh. It is that mindset of like. I don't want to just, we all follow people on Twitter, and I think a way to be different and to have yourself not just get scrolled past is to be like, oh, it's not just a relayed something from their stream,
right?
You know, it is an original, like that is only on like the Twitter, you know, I'm not posting that elsewhere.
Well, you do dumb shit on stream too, so let's keep it real.
I do, but like in sense of like ice cream questions, you know, or something original. I do try to make it, you know, like it is like it is a reason to hang out and follow me on Twitter in that sense, because that content is made just for Twitter. It's only being seen on Twitter.
What's your favorite ice cream, Noah?
Mint chocolate chip. There's no
easy. That was easy.
Yeah. Oh, if you could only have one, it'd be mint chocolate chip. The only reason I don't eat mint chocolate chip ice cream is because it wasn't an option when the options were spread out. Like if I'm eating vanilla ice cream or, you know, cookie dough, whatever the case, it just meant that mint chocolate chip wasn't available.
What place doesn't have mint chocolate chip available?
I don't know. Sometimes it's just not there, man.
No, places that sell ice cream do not sell mint chocolate chip.
I mean, sometimes.
No, name a time. Name a time in the past 6 months you went to go get ice cream. And it wasn't
like ice cream guys, you like come down the street like, oh, you can have soft serve ice cream.
Have you had an ice cream guy come down your street recently?
Oh my god, yeah, all the time. I hear my sleep. 5 in the morning, just ding. Yeah, all the time. Oh my gosh, it's like 1,000 degrees. Oh, they're making bang.
Wait, this is a serious question. Do they still have ice cream trucks these days, or do kids like not know about that these days?
Oh my god. Okay,
so
many.
Because like how
depends where you live.
How much of a moment was that when you were like 7, and you and your friends are outside and you do you're like, oh shit, the ice cream truck's coming. You had to sprint inside to get money and come back out before they passed you.
Yes. So like I grew up in the country, and then I moved to a major city. Major city, it's walk out, walk 10 feet, boom, ice cream truck.
Right.
Hear it all the time. Living in the country, it was just like, you know, Saturday inside gaming with friends, and you're like, and then like you run and like grab whatever change you have and like sprint outside, like trying to locate it, like echolocation, like where is it? Yeah,
right.
Yeah, it's it's a feeling. Yeah, it's a summer feeling of like find, like sprinting, like Dad, can I have $1? Like,
Right.
Wait, no, $1.25. Like, you know,
you could even have ice cream at the house, but you want the goddamn ice cream. You want like the Spider-Man thing or the SpongeBob little popsicle or whatever the heck you're going.
When
the
I
rocket
said it in
ship.
my head, I pictured not SpongeBob either SpongeBob or Spider-Man with the gumballs that just were like
for the eyeballs
one was
and
like
stuff.
on top of his head, the other one was like falling off, and I was like, perfect. This is what I want.
Yeah,
100%.
Are you in New York?
Yeah, I'm in the major city of New York City here.
Okay, and you lived there for like a long time?
A bit, yeah, like 9 or 10 years.
Oh, dang, that's a long time. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's all perspective. 9 or 10 years.
Well, you're like what, 30? So that's a third of your life. So I mean,
fair. Well, now when you say it, now I'm like, okay, when did I move? 2013. I'm like, okay, 8.5 years. I'm at. I think I'm going on year 9.
You're close to a decade. That's a long stinking time.
For sure.
Do you live like actually in the city? Are you gonna die? Are you dying?
I'm good now. I'm okay.
Okay, he's good. Great.
Yeah, New York City. I'm not like middle of New York and being like, it's the city, or like, you know. No, it's the city.
Well, like I asked because like when people ask like where do I live, and for people who don't know like anything about Louisiana, I'll say Louisiana, and they'll say, oh, like where at? And I'll say I'm near New Orleans, like because they know the city, you know. But I'm like it's a 15-minute drive to the city, you know. So like it's not like in the city.
100%.
But you're like, if you walk out of your house,
city,
you're in. So you're in the city.
Yes. Yeah, correct. It's not like that's what I said here. I'm not like 40 minutes from the city and just to make it easy calling it the city. No, like
you take a subway when you want to go to like wherever.
Yeah. No, we're like all subway when you want to. You either walk, you take a taxi, or you subway.
I have never been to New York, but I've always wanted to go. I've always wanted to go. My wife went like a decade ago with her family or something like that, or maybe probably longer than that. A little family trip, but I've always wanted to go. And
it is a crazy place.
Is it crazy though? Like, is it one of those places?
In positive,
like when you want it to be crazy, it's crazy.
Everything is here. Like it's. I think like New York City spoils you in the sense of like you don't want to live anywhere else because you're like nothing else is gonna have everything. So
yeah.
Like anything you can think of is here. Like anything you want to do is here. Anything is 5 minutes away. It's
Y'all have laser tag?
Oh yeah, that's what I mean. I want to go to laser tag. I want to go to an art exhibit. I want to go to a museum. I want to get food from all over the world, and it'd be like cool. You can do that all like within 5 blocks over there if you want. Like
it's like, very unique.
Yeah,
it is very very unique.
It's hard to like imagine elsewhere. Like I said, I grew up in the country, so like for me, I was just like everything was a 40-minute drive.
Yeah.
And now it's like, everything's a 5-minute walk if you want it to be. And like when major events get held, you know, they tend to be like, we're only doing these 3 major cities, and you're like,
New York's gonna be one of them.
Always one of them. Is always You know,
we have friends that live like quote unquote in the country here in Louisiana because like a lot of Louisiana is like fisherman's paradise, and it's like hunting and fish and all that kind of stuff, and I'm not really into that. Like I've done it before, but it's not like my thing. Obviously I'm a freaking gamer. I'm inside all day. I really touch grass, but we have friends that live like out in BFE, and there is a part of that that's very very appealing the older I get, like just having like a huge ass front yard, a huge ass backyard, neighbors that aren't right next to your house, and like you know, just like that kind of like free-ish feeling. But then I remember
that was me. Yeah.
If I want to go to the grocery store, like you said, if I want to go anywhere, the gas station, it's like a 20-minute drive. I'm like, nah, screw this, you know. When I'm older,
my growing up situation.
But so what made y'all move to New York, or was it you who moved to New York and your family?
I moved out to college. I grew up with my family on it was like a 50-acre gentleman's farm, meaning it doesn't produce anything.
So gentleman's farm. Excuse me.
Yeah, that's like the term for it. It's a gentleman's farm.
I've literally never heard of that term before.
So like
that sounds very sketchy. I'm not gonna lie.
Sure. So like that's the term that's used. Like, so if you grow up, people are gonna be like, oh, you grew up on a farm. What'd you make? And
gentleman.
We didn't do anything. Like, we didn't have like cows. They'd be like, oh, did you like grow
you just owned vegetables? Land? Like, is that the whole deal?
Yeah.
Okay.
So like, it means that you don't produce anything. You just have a farm. So we had horses, chickens, rabbits, dogs, cats, 50 acres of fields and all that. Giant front lawn, which by the way is the worst thing to mow in the summer.
The worst.
Especially when the riding mower breaks and your parents are like, can you get off the video games and go push the mower? I'm like,
negative.
It's like 5 acres.
I would break the push mower. I'm like, nope, can't do it.
So But it was fun. But yeah, it didn't produce anything. So I think that's where the term comes from. But yeah, I can't remember the original question of how we got onto that, but that's the farm I grew up on was what you're describing. And it is nice. Like, your neighbors are within walking distance. You can go to them, but they aren't like you walk outside and scream and no one's going to be like, oh, be quiet, which funny enough, it's the same thing on New York. Like New York City is the same. Like everyone yells all the time. So no one yells at each other. There's just always noise.
Yeah. Constant noise, right? Like it has to be just like cars going by,
sometimes sirens,
taxis, sirens, like people yelling, whatever. Like just the hustle and bustle of the city is always happening.
Yeah.
But there's like the energy with that, right? That's what I hear anyway from people who tell me they live there. Like, 'cause there's an energy in the city that when you go out, it's like, man, like you kind of feel like you're in the mix.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those. I think it's one of the good things is the very like community vibe of it. Even though a lot of times you're like, I don't know anyone. There is a community vibe of just like being all in it together. Like it's not that New York City is not that big, but there's like almost 9. Well, like.
Stop.
So it's
a big ass city, dude.
Well, no, but it's like in terms of like you compare it to like a state or something, right? Like there's 9 million people in New York City.
Okay.
And that's more than some like, states. Like the majority, like I think New York as a whole.
It's a very dense place.
Yeah, I think that's probably the way to say it.
Yeah.
And like mileage wise, it's not anywhere even close to the size of a state. Like if you take all of New York, it's like it's just this little part.
A little speck in Texas. Yeah.
Like, so I mean, in that sense, and it's not big. Like you could drive if there was no traffic, you could drive from like the bottom to the top pretty quickly.
Is there ever no traffic?
Oh, there's always traffic.
Like literally anytime. Like here where I'm at, if you like get up on a Sunday morning, like sometimes I have to work a split shift at work. I have to work night shift. And so when I'm coming home at like whatever 4 a.m, there's like nobody on the road. Is that ever a thing in New York, or is there always like roads are jam packed?
It always depends on where you are. Like I think everyone envisions the city as midtown, where it is like Times Square, blah blah blah.
1,000 taxis and all that stuff. Yeah.
And it's really not like every 4 blocks it feels like a completely different city. So there are places where it's like all of a sudden it's quiet and it's nice and it's gardens. You're like, where am I? And then you walk for another 4 blocks and I'm in Times Square. Then you walk 20 blocks down, you're in Union Square. Walk another 20 blocks down, you're by everyone fishing, by the Freedom Tower and all that. Oh, people fish all the time.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like in the where at? What?
Well, so okay,
like in the ocean?
Yeah.
Oh, like they're off the outskirts of New York City. Okay, I'm thinking like in City Park with the big ass pond or something. They're fishing in the pond or something.
No.
Okay,
like they fish in the ocean.
Okay.
So I mean, like it changes every 5 blocks. I always say if you come to New York City, if there's anyone who can ever walk you around, have them, and because everyone always comes to New York City and they end up getting stuck in Times Square, and it's like
well, it's the tourist trap. It's tourist trap
for sure. It's fun to go there for like a hot minute, but like there's so much to the city, you won't get it done in one trip by any means. But like just get out of Times Square. Times Square is like it's not a solid representation of what the city is. It's just a very energetic part for a minute.
But that's sometimes what people want. Like whenever people come to New Orleans,
I wouldn't say avoid it if it's your first time. Like definitely see it. 100% worth the see.
But like you said, it's got like the it's got like the essence of New York that people are looking for a quick little snippet. Like when people come to New Orleans, they go to Bourbon Street. They don't want to go to like the outskirts of little towns and see, oh, what's Louisiana all about? They go on swamp tours and they go to Bourbon Street. Like, that's it, like.
Yeah. It'd be like dropping in PUBG and being like, I only ever drop military base. And you'd be like, but there's so many other good spots. Like, there's so much to it. And that's like Times Square. It's like, oh, Times Square is really good. You should stop and be there for a minute and like check it out and like get that energy. But then don't just continue to only stay there for the entirety. Like there was so much good there and fun stuff. And it doesn't lack the energy. It's just, Times Square, like I feel like the essence of New York City isn't Times Square. It's just like it's turned up to 11 with Times Square. You're like, all right, this is
Do you think it's kind of fake? Like it's not really New York. Like it's like, oh, we know that tourists are here, so we're gonna jack this shit up, like and really amp it up.
Yeah, Yeah, 100%. Like the only place that's like Times Square is Times Square, which
Ah,
by
okay,
standard would make
okay.
it not the representation of
the rest of the city. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
But like it's what's become known as like the iconic point of the city.
But yeah, like any movie is gonna have like if New York is in the movie, there's gonna be a shot in Times Square.
100%.
Has to be.
Or a replication of it in LA.
Yeah. Or one of those bridges that freaking goes to the city or whatever, the island, whatever they're called.
Exactly. But yeah, that's the thing. It's like it is what it's known for, but it's it's so small. It's like, just a few
It's literally a
blocks.
block. Yeah, a couple blocks, right? Yeah. So yeah.
But it's such a small representation of the city. So anyone who wouldn't live in the city would be like, oh, that's what New York City is. Anyone who's been here for a minute would be like, absolutely, that's not the city. Like
I went to New York one time, and I wasn't like I say I went to New York, but so I went and I flew to New Jersey.
Okay.
And I went to go buy a car. This was like 7 or 8 years ago. So I flew out to New Jersey. I bought this car, and then I
We're
drove.
not in New York yet, but
I drove it home. Well, but I think like part of the trip, I was in the Bronx. That's in New York, right?
So, yes.
Okay, so like
you made it into New York.
I flew into New Jersey, and then like I had to drive a bit to get to this dealership to buy the car,
Gotcha.
and then I came like south and drove it back through like the Smoky, the mountains and everything. But like for a minute, I was like, I was looking at sounds like I'm in the Bronx. I was like, where the fuck am I? Like I didn't know like where I was
going. The Bronx
going.
goes really far north. Like it's the northernmost part of the city. So there are parts of the Bronx where you can be, and you're like you're in the city, but barely.
Right. Yeah,
like,
I wasn't driving past like skyscrapers, so I knew I wasn't in the city, but I was like, where the hell am I? I didn't really know like in relation.
It's one of the so New York City is made up of the 5 boroughs, and Manhattan is like the giant building one. So you got the Bronx, you got Manhattan, you got Queens, Brooklyn, and then Staten Island. They all make up New York City. And that's the other thing is people, New York City, they're like, oh, only Manhattan, and there's like Brooklyn has so much to offer. Staten Island probably has things to offer. But it's
probably you've never been.
The rule is if you live in New York City, you can make fun of Staten Island. If you don't live here, you can't make fun of them. It's like a little brother. Like the other brothers can. But
no one else better talk shit about it.
Exactly. Like if Long Island starts chiming in on Staten Island, like back it up, pause, pump the brakes. Like it's not like your cousin, okay? You can't pick on my little brother like that.
Right. That's funny how that works, huh?
It is, yeah. Staten Island gets ripped on the most.
Yeah. Speaking of ripped on, have you seen the new map, Deston?
I have. Yeah.
Did you go to the drop, Ripton?
Segue
did
right
you
there.
see that?
I took a moment. I was like, what is this? Oh my!
Did you see that?
I do. I have a drop I like in Ripton there.
Okay, tell the people what's your favorite place to drop in Ripton and why.
Well, you've also played with Steve the Happy Whale, who's a great person. But if you've played with him and you've dropped Ripton, he's probably made you drop the 2 spot.
I actually haven't played Deston with him yet.
Oh, well,
yes.
Okay. So he showed me these 2 spots, or it's 1 spot, but it's these 2.
Who is Steve the Happy Whale, by the way, just so everyone who's listening knows?
He's the community manager for PUBG.
Hi, Steve.
NA. Hello. Yeah, he's a super nice guy.
Very cool guy. Very cool guy. Yeah.
Yeah. And he showed me these 2 buildings, and I'm like, that's where I drop all the time now, because it really is like you have so much. They're connected. You can zip line. You can jump off of them. They connect.
You're talking about the one with the crane that like connects them across? Which
yeah.
Give people an idea which buildings you're talking about. You see, they're connected. Like, how are they connected?
They're square.
Interesting.
And they connect. I think
how do you move from building to building? Do you have to jump off?
I think they have planks.
Okay.
They have planks connecting them. You can walk right from the planks.
Gotcha.
In my head, I can see it. If I had a map of Destin, I'd be like, it's right there. Zoom in. It's those. It's like
if you were live right now at twitch.tv/WhoBuiltTheArk, you could show people.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
100%.
Gotcha.
Yeah. 100%.
Gotcha. Okay. Got it.
Plug it. Yeah. But that's my favorite Ripton jump spot.
Why is that your favorite spot, though?
It's also super central to seeing all the secret windows, which I know for a fact you've jumped near there because I watched you jump in through a window that was supposed to be unjumpable.
Did I?
Yeah, I saw that.
Would you say I was the world's first?
I think you're the world's only, to be fair. You're the first, second, third, last. You're the only person I've seen done it.
Have you not done it yet?
No, I asked Steve, I was like, are they going to patch that? He goes, no, it's so hard to do. I don't think they are even concerning themselves with it. So, no, I think.
Easy.
Well, for some people, it's easy.
Well, when you got James Bond skills like your boy,
Okay, there.
Wait, have you really not tried it yet? You never tried it?
Oh, I have. I not succeeded. I went
failure.
Luckily,
Okay.
you can re-pull that parachute.
Thankfully, you have redeployable parachutes.
Yeah.
For those who are listening and don't know, if you haven't played Deston yet, you can, if you cut your parachute, not like other maps, you can actually redeploy your parachute like on like Call of Duty or whatever, where you can always have a parachute. Boom, you can pull it, so you never have to hit the ground and die, take fall damage. It's really, really cool.
Exactly.
Really cool.
It's a very good time. It's saved me quite a bit. I will say the counter to that is you play Deston so much. I go back to like Aaron Gale. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna jump and get him, and I'm like, oh, what have I done? And then you just like to the ground because I'm so used to having a parachute now. Like, I haven't tall buildings.
I haven't played anything other than Deston since the test server. Like I have not queued anything other than Deston yet. I'm kind of nervous too.
Yeah,
like because of what you just said, like all the features that are on Deston, like the Ascender, the cell tower, the freaking redeployable parachute, all that stuff.
Exactly. And that's like the thing, is not being able to
Hey, here we go. Look at this.
Yo, look at this. I was like, I have to find this now. Okay. So this is the map, right? This is
zoom us in, Daddy. Let's go.
We got Ripton right here. Big old giant Ripton.
Mm-hmm.
It is those ones. Okay.
I can't see your mouse.
That's fair. You see the word Ripton?
Yes.
You see
yes.
it?
Yes.
We're gonna focus in there. It's those.
That little square at the top.
These. Wait, where's my hand pointing? This.
Where is your hand pointing?
Those.
Use your other hand.
Ow! This. Those. Oh, this is hard. Okay, these two buildings right here.
Gotcha.
You see those two?
Yeah.
Those two right there. Those are the two buildings.
And that's got the plank on it.
Yeah, and if you be like, and you jumped into like the building that's like right here. This one has a hole in the window, and that's the one I'm pretty sure you jumped in. Oh, that's fair. But anyway, so that's the two buildings. They're
okay.
They're a great time.
So would you say that Ripton is your favorite place to go in Deston?
No. Lodge, 100%.
Oh, 100%. Like no question?
Oh yeah. If you didn't know, PUBG has a selfie at Deston challenge right now where you have to take a selfie at your favorite spot in PUBG, and then they give you some prizes.
You have to put that selfie in Discord or something? What's going on with that?
Yeah, the banner's in the game. You click on like the thing, it'll say selfie at Destin. You click on it, it'll bring you right to their Discord.
Right.
It's just a selfie in game with your in-game name, and they give you the foul-mouthed mask, a spray, and then you get entered into the raffle to win a bunch of G-Coin.
I like G-Coin.
Of course, it's open to everyone. And so I took my selfie at my favorite spot, which was the lodge. And I'm like, I think I'm emoting in front of the giant elk in there or something.
Are you sure it's not a moose?
You know,
I really don't know. I have no idea. So
you make a fair point, and if you know,
just because I mean, an elk makes more sense to hunt. But this is in Texas, so I don't think moose are. Yeah, that's definitely an elk. Yeah. It's like this is in Texas, so mooses. Mises? Is it meat?
Yeah,
no, it's moose. It's moose.
Moose is singular and plural.
Moose is it's like goose.
Yeah.
No, there's geese.
Mm-hmm.
What am I thinking of? It's singular and plural.
Elk, moose, meese.
No, but
mice.
Okay, yeah, no. So elk, and moose.
Mm-hmm.
Those are okay. Those are singular and plural. Anyway, that is now confirmed, or just an incredibly large deer. And for those that didn't know, that is Deston is based in Texas, like southern Texas or whatever, by the Gulf Coast and stuff. So your favorite place is Lodge, because it's a hot drop, and you like to drop hot.
Yeah, I like to throw hands from the start.
You like to throw hands.
I mean, I do also like the map design. Like I also do like Lodge, and the fact that there is sub levels to play, and to get to the sub levels you can drop Lodge, run down the stairs. But if you're like, oh man, I messed up my drop, it's not like Hacienda where you mess up your drop at Hacienda, just 180 leave. There's 3 little sub tunnels just north of Lodge that lead you into the basement, and then you can get gear there and work your way up.
Yes. Did you know that those sub tunnels are purposefully symbolized and colored differently?
What do you mean?
Exactly. I learned this by watching Blitz 5's video on YouTube. Shout out Blitz. And he said that, or he showed that there's like painted walls on each of the tunnels.
Okay.
One's like blue, one's orange, and one's green. Like in the game, you're not going to see it on the map. In the game, they're painted. So they did that for call out purposes so that you could say like enemy on blue tunnel, enemy on green tunnel, or whatever the other tunnel is. So it makes it very easy to like call out to your teammates which tunnel they're in or which tunnel you're in.
Oh, I wasn't aware of that.
I wasn't aware of it either. I just learned about it today. But what annoying thing that I found, and let me know if you agree or disagree, is when you land lodge, like if you land, let's say outside by the helicopter pad, people do shoot at you, but you kill them first. And so you're in the helicopter pad, you're killing everyone else because you're a better gamer. And you hear shots right behind you sometimes. And you think, are there people in the forest with guns?
I always think, and then I very quickly go, that's underground. Yeah.
Why? But why is it so stinking loud that it sounds like it's in the forest behind you when they're under you?
Same with the footsteps. Sometimes I'll snap and I'm like, there's nobody there.
It's a ghost.
And I'm like, they're under. Yeah.
And they're under. Okay. So you experience the same thing. Okay.
Yeah, I do. If there was a way they could do something with vertical sound, I would love it. Or even if there was a way with like vertical sound in some areas being cut off from the top, such
just muffle it a little bit. It give me some kind of, because like I legit died one time. I was like fighting a team, blah blah blah, got them knocked. And I'm like, oh shit, someone's behind me. I turn around and it's trees. I'm like, where the heck are these people? Like, oh, they're under me. Like, yeah.
Always. That was a problem experienced at the revamped boot camp that was on New Sandhawk, which has now been reverted back. Was boot camp did have it had a lot of sub levels.
Yes.
The problem with that, and they all connected. The problem with it was the sub levels, they went down. Okay, so it went. You had floor.
Yep.
And then you went down a floor, and then you could go down.
And then you could go the staircase. Yeah.
And it wasn't like a full basement. It was like a basement and a half. There wasn't a bathroom.
It was like a 1.5.
Yeah, like a 1.5. But you were so far below ground, but it sounded like you were on top.
If you were up top, you were thinking, oh, they're right below me, but they were really like 3 levels below. So
far down, and it would throw you off because like you'd be holding an angle from this one. You hear feet running at you. You turn, and you're like, "There's nobody here."
No one.
And then you were like, oh, and then that guy running at you with a rocket launcher or something. But yeah, the vertical sound, I always wondered if they could ever make it like, if feet were below you, make them bassier, then I could be like, oh, bassier, be below. And if like, if they were above me, just make them a little sharper. And then I'd be like, oh, that's above, just anything that I could use for an indication of like normal footstep, lower, higher footstep.
What I found that PUBG typically does for that is that they change the terrain type of each level. So like, let's say lodge is concrete.
Yeah.
Below, if they just made it metal steps, you would like very quickly know like ting, 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 ting. Oh, that's.
Do they do that? Or are you saying they could?
No, they do that on some buildings. If you pay attention, like some buildings have like wood and then some concrete in the, like, so that there's a distinctive like audio difference, So like, I was like, oh, okay, they're above or below, whatever. So
if footsteps for sure.
Yeah. So if they did that for something like that, it's like, oh, that's obvious. They're above or below.
Yeah. It's still like gunshots and voices.
Gunshots, you're screwed. Yeah. Good luck. Yeah. Good luck.
But yeah, that's an interesting point because I have, so I've made some plays before where you have to guess that guy's either going to peek left or right. And I'm like, he was on wood and I just heard sand. And I'm like, I know that only transitions to sand on the left side, not the right side.
Right.
And like you pre-fire the left.
Unless
like, how'd you know
there's grass growing inside the building that's clipping through, and you're hearing the sand.
Sometimes you jump on dirt in PUBG and it makes a splash sound like water.
Yeah, so you hit the water. You're like, what the hell?
Yeah, you were just like, we don't pay attention to that time. We just move on.
Yeah, that's just the PUBG memes, man. So
where's your drop?
So I was gonna say, let's stay on the topic of Deston.
Where I'm dropping now, we gotta find out where CDome's dropping.
My past few stream titles have been Deston Explorer, Dome the Deston Explorer, and I've done that because I have just been having so much fun, literally landing everywhere. Like I don't look at the map and go, oh man, I can't land there. Like I like landing a lot of different places. Mainly because I've been embracing the window jump-in opportunity to kind of get the ball rolling in the game. And so like almost every named city has a window that you can jump in early game and maybe get a security key and then maybe take that to go get your level 3 gear or whatever. But even the places that don't have that, it's just been fun for me just to explore the area.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Having said that, after the honeymoon phase wears off, and I'm ready to game, Arena, I think, has been my favorite hot drop.
Okay.
Lodge it's a smidge too many obstructions in such a close vicinity.
I think Arena and Lodge are like the opposite sides of a coin. They both offer that hot drop. It's like, and I do also like dropping Arena because you get a little more open fights.
A little bit. Yeah. It's like you can take a 2v2 on this team and then quickly have to adjust for this team versus Lodge. It's like, good luck, bro. There's fights. Everyone's fighting each other.
If someone threw a bet down and was like, you have to drop this hotspot or this one and you have to make it out alive and take him, I would go Arena.
Right.
I feel Lodge offers the unfortunate, very tight doorways and like quick corners.
Yeah.
And there are Panzerfaust, which are the rocket launchers in PUBG, which is game over. And shotguns are really strong, and there's a high chance
shotguns are in PUBG.
Shotgun.
That's weird.
Yeah, there's probably gonna be a shotgun in Lodge, and that's basically another game over. Where at least in Arena, when I hear like the I can just be like, okay, let me create some distance. Where in Lodge, if I hear it, I just shoot down to the basement. I'm like, nope, done. So I would say I like them both. I like Arena a lot as well. Like Lodge is not my only. I also get the 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 CDome Explorer cap on, and I'm like, I just want to go. I found a supermarket at like top left is like Los Arcos or something.
Like the mini Ripton city.
Yeah.
And that's a great place to land. That's a great place to land.
Yeah, there's an abandoned supermarket there, and you can go up and down with the rope.
The zip line. Really speaking of, so the zip line is the Ascenders for those who have not played with it yet. That's the zzz all the way to the top, or you can go down to the bottom. Okay. They're also in the interior of some of the buildings, and they replace an elevator. Which, fun fact, in the PUBG Reddit AMA, they actually attempted or at least entertained elevators. But because of the moving objects and everything, they said, scrap it. Let's just put Ascenders inside
I like
too.
Ascenders more, yeah. Elevators makes me feel Battlefield. Ascenders makes me feel more like Battle Royale.
The only thing I don't like about the Ascenders is that only one person at a time can go on it until the person is off. So like if you want to push a knock, it's like, okay, good luck, bro. Like you got zzz, and you by yourself for 10 minutes, you know?
Yeah. I may have an emote now of it's like my little skull character or my face going up and down on a zip line now.
Shut up.
Because
I gotta get that.
There's a few clips already.
That's awesome.
I take the relaunchers, which use Ascenders.
Right.
Name.
The cell tower you're talking about, right?
Yeah, where you zip up to the top and you can relaunch
and shoot across, right? Okay.
Yeah, and it's very similar to the game Apex, where they have the only difference is though at Apex it shoots you to the top, it launches you.
Right.
These ones you can just go to the top and sit there, man.
Hang out. You can just chill.
And I've seen how long I can sit there. I've sat there for 10 minutes. But I just go up and down the line. I go zzz, zzz, zzz. If you look at me from a mile away, I'm a 1 pixel, and the cell tower has shielding covering.
Right. It's hard to get hit.
Yeah. And if a lot of times what happens is I'll be at the top. I hear a car pull up. They realize they can't use the line. They're like, oh, there's someone there.
But they can't look up high enough, huh?
Yeah. There's a fun fact of PUBG. You can't look straight up. You can only reach about like 80 degrees maybe to shoot. If I'm at the top, we've done the math, to shoot me, you have to go over 1 white square away to shoot.
Like over 100 meters.
Yeah, over 100 meters away. And a person did try this. A fellow streamer tried this. And they went all the way away, and they were trying to shoot me while I was zipping, and someone came up and shot them. And they came up.
LOL.
Like, how dare you? They're like, I saw this dude zipping up and down this ascender for like 5 minutes. So I was like, I'm gonna go fight him. And I was just like, yeah. So there is a challenge right now in the battle pass where you have to get to the top 10 without taking damage.
I just unlocked that challenge. I didn't complete it yet though.
Doing the ascender. Just go sit there. In worst case, if you get it outzoned, just ascend yourself to the next one, fly
to the next cell tower, and dude, that's genius.
Yeah, it is.
I'm gonna do that next year.
Or like, I'm like, oh man, I gotta go get some water. I'm thirsty. Where am I gonna leave myself that I'm safe? Top of the tower. I find like the face shield, and I just sit there. And
you can stop your ascension, right? Like you don't have to go to the top and stop. You can midway,
Yeah. I go to like about 80 to 90% because there's a satellite and there's shielding there, so you're covered completely from one.
Cheeky.
So only 3 angles can shoot you, but to even shoot me from there, you'd have to go so far away, and you have to spot. There's so much framework there; it's hard enough to even spot someone in there. Really, the only time people recognize it is when they go and they're like, "Why can't I use the line?"
And they're trying to use it. Yeah.
But
so wait, speaking of cell towers, have you? I have not tried this, and I want to test it out. Have you tested how effective the cell tower is at actually rotating you to your next destination? Because some people have said like, oh, it's not even. I can run faster. I'm like, no way, you can't run faster than that. Like, it's got to be more useful than running.
It's like, it's faster than running, 100%. Yeah,
but is it
that's
safer?
An exaggeration if someone says that.
Because
is it safer?
Because you're floating. Everyone see like it's like, oh, hey, they're the parachute. Like everyone knows.
We all have like a clip or two of us shooting someone out of the sky, but that's about as much as all we all have. We all have like 1 or 2 clips in the years of playing a PUBG. That way we all have like that one clip where we shot someone, but we attempted every single time. It's so hard to hit someone.
I just had a 600+ meter no scope parachute headshot with the Car 98 like a week ago on Deston.
Perfect. So we can't all jump into windows or no scope people out of the sky, but
it'll never happen again.
I would much rather float through the sky than run.
Right?
It is much faster. Often you're not often seen. If you are often seen, it's hard to hit that shot.
Because you can zero, you can
exactly. You can pull yourself in the ground real quick. I think one of the things I mostly do with it is I use it and I quickly start scanning the roads
for a vehicle,
for a car, and I just dive bomb the vehicle.
Gotcha.
I had it the other day. I was doing random squads and everyone left but one guy, but the final circle had an ascender in it, so we're using that, and I even used it at one point to go up, pop off real quick and jump right back down to my same spot. But I used myself like a human UAV to figure out where all the final teams were, and then went right back down. We stacked some vehicles, and that's how we played it.
Cheeky. Okay.
So they do have like uses that are beyond, like, yeah, you can't use it and relaunch across the entire map, but it definitely is handy. Like there's definitely been times where I'm like, oh, a sender, or I can run, I'll just pick a sender.
Right.
But more often it's not because of the distance I'm gaining, it's because I can then see a vehicle and grab it.
What some people don't know too on PUBG is that you can actually hold for me, it's the control key, whatever your slow walk key is.
Yeah, for the parachute.
And float way, way further. Like you obviously go slower, but you can extend your distance like an extra 500 meters or whatever the heck it is, 100, 200 meters. So you can actually go a lot further. Yeah. And when I do the actual test, I want to see if it's possible to go from cell tower to cell tower by slow floating. I don't think it will be, but I wonder how close you can get, like to really just go boom, like kind of frog jump all the way over.
Yeah. During my cell tower challenge, I went from cell tower car and then I yeeted it to the next cell tower.
Okay.
So like that was my approach when doing that. It's also really fun if you can get on top of one and just jump on crates, because a lot of us don't try to parachute onto crates, because if you hit it and you don't land out, you're
dead. But not in Deston. I didn't even think about that.
So I go after crates a lot, trying to land on them.
I didn't even think about that.
Because
wow.
you get a second chance.
Yeah, that's a great point. You can vault the crate too, right? You just hold V, and if your character's on it, he'll vault it.
I'm not great at landing in crates, so I don't know. Maybe
I'm pretty sure you can. So if you hit like smack the side of it and you hold V, it'll just he'll vault.
Probably.
Because that's the same thing you do with the windows. So what I do at the windows, world's first.
True. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've not tried. Saw that slide in there. I'm not good at landing on the crates. They tend to be, because they move fast down.
They do move fast. Yeah.
If you're trying to float on it, it'll just beat you out. But like I said, like I think the ascenders are cool for the cell towers. They're not an end all be all of like instant relocate yourself. They just add another element. I think Deston plays really well. There are some things I think in the end that could be, slight. I think with any tweaks, always smaller increments until you find the right thing, rather than huge and then have to pull back. And I think one thing that most people are notable of is the 3 gear at this point is becoming, people have explored the map and have gotten really good at getting 3 gear. So you do kind of have Tego finishes where it's 10, 15 people and you're like, oh, everyone's 3 geared with self revives and we all have 3 weapons. And you're like, this feels a lot.
Yep.
I don't know the best balance for it. But who knows? And I don't know if they feel the same. But that's probably the only thing that off the top of my head. I know some people were like, oh, phase 1 or 2 feels slow after a hot drop. But I was like, it's only been out for a week. People have to learn the map. Some people
are still exploring. Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
It's not going to play normal yet. You know, you got CDome out here who's checking every
nook and cranny. I'm trying to find them all.
Exactly. So you got to assume everyone else is doing that. Like we're not thinking about engaging, or we're just trying to find things out, learn the map. And a big thing is just knowledge of rotations, of like knowing where people are going to rotate and then naturally going that way to get a fight.
Yeah.
like my first like day or two playing it, I was like, I don't know how to rotate this map.
Oh, how could you?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, how could you?
So I think like you gotta give it time in terms of that. So like I think really like my only personal change is like we should probably look at like, and I don't know how you would do it, like because you can't just decrease the spots or the keys given out. It is a fun aspect to be able to grab keys and explore and get keys, and you can't change what's in the crates because then they're not worth getting the key cards for.
It could lower the percentage of the crates being there, you know, because sometimes you land in the window and it's literally a pistol suppressor or a med kit, or there's 2 keys. Like it, you know, it's so random.
I've definitely gotten the 2 keys before.
Yeah, and it's like, oh shit, now it's like now we're kidding. Yeah.
For sure. And I think maybe some of the security rooms. If you ever open some of the rooms, you do get 2 weapons out of there. The other day I opened.
I've never seen that.
Oh, like lodge? Have you gone to the basement lodge one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got 2 P90s out of there the other day. I was rolling 400 rounds.
I've never seen 2. I've only seen like 1 piece of level 3 gear, either a helmet or a vest, and a weapon.
So your arena has a small room, funny enough, because you said you like arena. Arena has a security room, but it's a small one, only 1 weapon. Lodge has a big security room.
Interesting.
You get 2 weapons.
Didn't know
usually
that.
2 pieces of 3 gear. Sometimes it's the same piece, like 2 helmets.
Right.
But you do get 2 pieces out of it.
Didn't know that. Okay. Interesting.
So you sometimes you end up walking away with like a Groza MK, and you're like the other day I grabbed
that might be too much, right?
Exactly.
That might be too much.
I landed lodge, was like found a security key, sprinted to the basement, got an MK, got a Groza, and I was like, I'm good. Like within 30 seconds of the game, I was 3
the first minute you could be 3. So okay, like one of the things I put in the suggestion box for the AMA was potentially, obviously, just a suggestion, is that they give some kind of like audio alert to nearby players that a security room is being opened or has been opened. So like if you're in Ripton or if you're in Lodge or wherever, there's some kind of alert that like, hey, someone has accessed the secret room. It's opened now.
Cool. Like a little like
something.
Like,
just so everyone knows, like, cool. Someone's for sure there. And they're kitted now, so like I either can aggressively push that, or I can get the F and get out before they murder me.
Because it is kind of like a safe, like like most houses would have a security system, like safe is open, like
right,
like a little red light,
something.
Oh, someone's down there.
Yeah,
that could be. I'd be down for that.
Because like I said, could be cool.
People are telling you you're down there, but at the same time, it's like if they want to come down there, like you have the advantage,
Right. But then they know, like maybe they don't have a security key, but they're like, if I can kill this person, I can at least get their weapon and maybe their leftover armor, so it's a risk reward for both sides.
A very good element of play to it. Yeah,
for both sides. Okay, what else on Deston? So what about the O12 shotgun, the fully automatic /burst /single fire slug, first of its kind shotgun? What's your opinion?
It is a strong weapon. It's so strong that I think sometimes it's not used to its fullest extent, but I think if I think the best way to use it, I think it is very strong. Like I think
enlighten us. What's the best way to use it?
So I think everyone goes to put it on full auto, send it at any distance.
Terrible.
It kicks sideways so hard, and it should. Like it shouldn't be, so easy to control.
Right.
The way I see it is, if they're say within a certain distance, full auto, because you're not going to miss. Just unload it full auto. If they are a certain distance, you're going to want to put it on single tap, which does make it more, like a DMR type thing. Like it does hit hard, but it's not like the insta death of all things. Like lightweight with a red dot and whatever tip you want on there I really like the method I've been finding the most fun with it, because lightweight, you reset after every shot, so you can really single tap that really quickly. And at a distance, like I said, if you full auto that, PUBG players are really good at controlling vertical recoil, but horizontal recoil is always so random, and it's you correct from it, but you can't control it. You can't like actively pull against it.
Yeah, if it keeps going different directions too, like you can't judge where it's going. Yeah.
Good like if you've gotten good with it, if your gun kicks off to the side, you quickly recorrect it. But it's not like vertical recoil where as you hold, it's going to kick up, so you pull down actively against it.
Right.
And with the the O12 shotgun, it does actively like kick left and right randomly. The full auto past a certain extent it's not the most advantageous. Is that a word? It's
advantageous.
It's not the best way to have an advantage. You're gonna want to single tap it. it's a fun gun. I think I always talk about shotguns. They are always one of the hardest things, I think, for any video game to achieve a balance in PvP elements. PvE, you can always make them fun and, you know, balanced, I feel like, because it's PvE. But when it's PvP, most games either make them way too strong or way too weak, and you never pick them up. You know, way too strong. And PUBG is at the end where, you know, I shouldn't say a lot of players. I feel that they have some elements going for them that could be corrected in a small tweak. And one thing, like mine, is just I would just like to see if you're in movement with the shotgun, I would like to see more inaccuracy and more of a reticle bloom.
Yeah, a movement penalty for sure should be applied. You can't jump shot with a shotgun and get 100% accuracy. That should not be a possibility.
Sure. The biggest thing is, like, if you look at any weapon that you use in the game, if you move or if you jump, your bloom gets really big.
Huge.
On a shotgun, it's like did it bloom? Did it move?
It doesn't. And all the shots still go like right where you're aiming. Mm-hmm. All 9 of them, boom, one time, boom, all your damage.
And I feel like damage at range and everything, it's so hard to balance that, and, like, you know, either make them too weak, too strong, whatever the case is. But it
shouldn't be that hard though, Noah. There should be a significant damage drop off at like 50 plus meters. You should not be sniping people with buckshot shotguns. You should not be 360 jumping off a rooftop and hip firing and have no penalty. Like, it should be easy to balance this crap. It should be easy. I'm passionate about it, goddammit. We're gonna get this fixed.
I agree. Because, like, people are always gonna be like, well, that's not realistic if it doesn't do damage at the range, and they're gonna be like, well, it's not realistic they can 360. And what I always say is realism doesn't always translate to fun gameplay.
It never does. No, it never does.
It wouldn't be fun in PUBG if we had stamina meters and our guys were getting winded every time.
Right. If this is Tarkov, people would not be loving it as well. Maybe, but, you know, like in the battle royale genre, it wouldn't be the same. Yeah.
So I do think weapons do have to fall out of realism, because, like, shotguns, like you said, shouldn't be able to travel so far. In a game, it's not fun when a shotgun has that much devastating power. They're like that in real life, but they are devastating, you know, in real life. It wouldn't be fun to have that in a video game.
Right.
And on the flip side, you know, 360ing sometimes is fun. You would never.
It's hella fun. Of course it's fun. Of course.
But yeah, I think the biggest thing is that I feel with shotguns, to even, like, just start to make them feel like, okay, they're strong, but, like, you're gonna have to be stationary and line up your shot. The hardest thing is, like, you see them, like, quick peek a corner, like, shift out, shift in, and you're dead.
All of their damage is done instantly. They buff their last patch, their last change to shotguns, if I remember correctly, was a buff to the shotguns. Specifically, too, with the pump shotgun, they increase the fire rate in between the pumps. Before it was like boom, boom. Now it's like boom. If you time it right, boom, boom, boom. Like, you can get off your shots, and that shotgun is able to one shot a level 3 gear target full health at, like, whatever, 20 meters away. Which is insane.
At the receiving end of that. I've been at the receiving end of that without, like, and they don't have a choke on it or anything.
No, they don't need it, because with the limb damage multipliers, all that shit, like, it's. Shotguns need to be devastating up close, but there needs to be significant penalties to try to use them outside of a certain effective range. And then getting back to the O12, in my opinion, I'm so glad they put one with the slug in it, because that's, like, so unique. It's like, oh wow, this is a different type of weapon now. But they purposefully nerfed it after internal testing, where you cannot put a 2x or anything bigger than a 2x on it. You can only put a red dot on the hollow. So the point of a slug shotgun is that it increases your usable distance for that weapon, because it's a one slug and it does more damage long range. But then they nerfed it by not putting a 2, 3, 4, or 6x on it. So it's like, if you're going to use a shotgun because you're up close and personal, a DBS or the pump shotgun are still the go-to shotguns.
Correct.
And if you're going to do mid range, if you can't put a scope on it, you're not gonna. The O12 is a meme gun at this point. Like, it's like a crossbow. You're like, oh, I could kill someone with it, but why would I try so hard when I could just use an SLR or Mini 14 and 2-tap?
It really has, like, a very specific place of, like, 10 meters out. Like, it's right where like a pump would start to fade away. That's where the O12.
But not really, though, because the pump is you don't even have to aim. You're just,
it's true.
Like, I'm just guessing at like, I'm just lean and shoot. I'm guessing the O12. It's like, you have one shot. I have to hit this shot. I have to.
I guess Probably the best thing is like full autoing from like 5 feet away and hoping that their pump doesn't hit you.
Yeah, clearing bathrooms is what the O12 is really designed for.
No, if someone jumps a corner, they get what I think a default 30 or 20 rounds.
They're done.
Like, it comes out, it's like, bah, 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 you're just like
done.
And even if you miss, don't worry, it's gonna kick probably back.
You're going to,
yeah.
Now, I will say this about the O12 before we get off the O12 is that I do agree 100% with your assessment on the attachment. Compensator lightweight grip is the attachment for it. I prefer the burst mode because for those that don't know, lightweight grip will, like Noah said, keep your first 2 shots incredibly close together. So if you're in burst mode, your number 1 and number 2 shot are really tight. And that gun is a 2-shot weapon almost anywhere. So if you're like, you immediately pull down when you shoot the burst, you're going to almost always hit your first 2 shots. But if you miss those 2 shots, like
game over.
You're screwed, you know, because if they have a pump or something, you know.
I only single tap it. So for the lightweight, it resets. It gets you back to wherever the kick was. It gets you back to level faster. So I just single tap it, so it goes up, down, really quick.
But
just
the
like
the burst has those 2 shots really close with a lightweight only. If you do a vert or whatever, it does not apply.
Yeah. Now, I don't use burst anything, so I don't know how any of the attachments.
You're missing out.
Burst.
If you go to burst, put a lightweight on it, and go do some spray tests, you'll see what I'm talking about. Now Tiggleton said yesterday, the day before I was on the stream watching, he said laser sight is really good, and I didn't even think about it because of the hip fire bonus that you get from it. And I was like, that actually makes a lot of freaking sense.
I say the 2 things are if you're within close, laser. If you're gonna single tap it out, lightweight. But yeah, if you're close range, like, and you are like, oh, I'm gonna full auto this on someone, laser sight,
and hold the hip fire button.
Yeah, if you're like, oh, I'm going to play with the O12 this game, you're going to want the lightweight and you're going to want the laser. Because if they're within range to full auto, you're going to full auto. And the only thing that's going to benefit you there is you probably just want to hip fire it with the laser. If they're far enough out that you're going to single tap it, you want the lightweight. I would 100% agree with that.
What if they took the O12 and put it in the crate and allowed you to put a 6X on it? Does it make sense then?
With its current damage?
It basically would be a DMR-ish replacement because you could use it like 100, 150 meters or whatever.
Are you saying, well, they'd have to up the damage then, correct?
I don't think so.
Oh, I mean, the other day, I was firing construction, and I was shooting down at someone with it. And I 2-tapped them like in the upper body, and they were far enough out that it just didn't kill them. So, I mean, it does have drop off. Now, again, I didn't know what vest they had. They could have a 3 vest. It would probably like realistically need to go up in terms of like drop off damage. Like it would need to hold its damage longer if it was going to become viable as like a DMR replacement.
Well, you wouldn't want it to be a DMR replacement, but you'd want it to be usable at some kind of range. Like, because
further range,
when 100 meters, people don't realize 100 meters in PUBG is a long ways away. Like
it is.
100 meters spray with an AR is difficult. Like imagine tapping with a super freaking jumpy shotgun. Like it's not going to be an easy kill, but it would be quote unquote viable.
100 meters is far.
It's far, but when you read comments, so many people say 100 meters spray. Like it's not as easy as you think.
100 meters is 1 white square.
It's far.
I think people forget how far that is.
It's far.
Most of the time, you're not spraying anyone at 100 meters. Like,
no. Well, I mean, you are because I mean, you're Noah.
I'm prone with like an Eva with an M24 with a stock or something at 6 times maybe.
Dude, the other day I was playing with Molu and I went prone like an idiot. I knew I was an idiot. I had the Mark 14 and I was like, the Mark 12 with the bipod, and I was like, I need to go prone. For some reason, my dumb brain just has to use that bipod. Even though you're a sitting duck, and I'm just prone, tapping, fire.
It's fun though. It's fun.
It's fun, and then I got headshot as I knew I would, and then I died. So I was like, God damn it! But like, I have to use it.
There are selective moments when using prone as a aggressive thing works.
Yeah,
like an aggressive approach. Like I'm gonna prone to shoot this gun.
Right.
But when it does work, it's really fun. It's
super
really
fun
when you drop out like 30 rounds and someone's lasering me from a mile away.
Right.
Like, but most of the time in an offensive approach, proning is the way to get sent back to the lobby.
Yeah.
Proning is usually I need to be tactical, hide. I'm hiding on a hill, something. It's usually not I'm being offensive.
No.
But it is very fun when you can pull it off.
Hella fun.
And most of the time, if I am going to do it, it's going to be in duos, where when I know I'm going to get a headshot, at least my teammate can hopefully
potentially res it. Yeah.
Exactly. Solos, it's like if I'm in a fight, there's almost no chance I'm going to prone and just start lobbing shots at people.
That's where you and I are built different. Speaking of teammates resing you, what are you surprised that we don't have a revive system for Deston, or are you thinking that's part of the course?
Surprised, or
did you expect like, oh, maybe they might actually send it out with a revive system, or you were like, it's not coming?
I'm not surprised. PUBG hasn't. I feel like even the revive that came out in Tego was really only for player demand, and I didn't really feel like they wanted it there. So I'm not surprised that it's not there. I wish there was a sense of a revive system, like just a simple one, defib. Like I think the game, there was that other BR Super People. I think they did a fantastic job of how their revive existed.
Agreed. For those that don't know, the Super People uses the defibrillators. That word fucks me up every time. Every time. You use the defibs, and if your teammate gets flushed, you have like, I think it's like 4 minutes. It's a long time in that game. You have like 4 minutes.
It's long,
to do like a 20-second animation to beep, and bring them back to life, and it does it a few times. Makes a loud audible noise, like very obvious that you're reviving your teammate. So a lot of people who have played that have said, man, it'd be nice to see that in PUBG or something similar to it.
Correct, because it is not my teammate's been knocked and flushed. It's not let me do this mid-fight. It's no, you're going to have to win your fight, win the area, then you can do it.
20 seconds is a long time.
With an audible notification. If everyone hears that, they're like, you're doing this mid-fight? Yeah, jump them. So I would love, because I think, there's always going to be the split side of like, should you flush, should you not flush? That all aside, it would make it so that way you are able to flush someone. And then even if you did flush someone, if their single teammate won, they can get their teammate back and continue on playing the game rather than being like, it's the start of the game, let me return to lobby, let's just start over.
Backs out. You're right, exactly.
Exactly. And, I'd be like, you'd be like a 2-minute timer through. Fights don't last that long in PUBG when they're hot like that. So 2 minutes, you could clear out all of Hacienda and get your teammate back.
I agree.
And 20-30 seconds revive on your teammate. And if your teammate's flushed, you could be like, they're looking in the floor, they can't see, they're lootable. So, and no one's gonna be upset if you flush them. Like, okay, they just want my stuff. Hopefully if my teammate wins, they'll just
get you back. Yeah, they can earn you back. They can earn you back.
Yeah. And that's how so I like that more than like, the Apex or Fortnite style of get their card, run away, or run away from the fight, wait until everyone's gone, run back
come back. Yeah,
exactly.
It is kind of a passive way. Yeah, that's a good point. It's a very passive way to do it. Yeah,
exactly. I think PUBG encourages offensiveness, so you want to encourage. No, if you want your buddy back, you gotta win. You can't run away, wait, and then come back and get it. Because we don't want to see that. We don't want to see people running away from the hot drop and be like, "Yo, I'll get you. I'll get you in like a few minutes.
I'll go get cash and buy you back later." Yeah, like in Call of Duty or something. Yeah. That's a good point. That's a really good point.
Call of Duty people, you'll hear a lot of people be like, "Bro, just run."
Yeah, I'm gonna ping a buy station. Come over here.
Yeah, and run. And so you see a lot of people exit the fight. And I think PUBG has always been, hey, we reward you for winning. You want that crate, you're gonna fight for it.
That's a good point, Noah. Good point.
So I like that concept of it. It would be a big jump. PUBG does, explore event modes. I think PUBG could test it out in an event mode and see player feedback. Because I think that's the biggest thing, You always have players being like, everyone thinks this, everyone thinks this. Okay, let's just throw it in an event mode. Let's test it out. Let's see what the current players who are, what it might feel like.
I think that they are hard at considering a proper revive system. And that's been reinforced recently by Dave Kurd, the creative director of PUBG, the person who directs the creative direction of the game. His comments, his reply to my question in the AMA was, based on Tego, it's been shown that players are receptive to a revive mechanic. So that was like a test bed. It was a pretty bad test bed, but it was a test bed of like, do players quit the game because there's a revive system, or do they continue playing PUBG? And the answer is people don't quit playing PUBG. They'll keep playing it. Correct. And so based on that, maybe they'll try an actual like what we're talking about, revive system.
I agree. I think, PUBG is one of the games. The reason it does stay around long is because the skill ceiling does, to a point, seem endless, and that keeps players always chasing that.
Sure.
And the only thing that holds out new players is not being able to stay in the game long enough to actually learn and get those skills.
Yep.
So keep them in there. Don't make the game easier. I don't know if we need to make drive-bys more stable. I don't know if we need to add
unstable
multiplier. Yeah, I don't know if we need to add limb multipliers and make shotguns easier and throw rocket launchers all over the place to be like, well, at least beginning players have an instant way to get something. I'm like, no,
right.
Players like learning. They like having challenges. They like seeing growth. Oftentimes, if a game comes out and you've hit the skill ceiling within a week, you're like, I'm done with it.
Right.
They don't hang around too long. I think PUBG, the reason it has been around so long is because it is unique, and that skill ceiling always does feel like you're like, I'm the best. And they're like, wait, there's something else I can get better at. Oh, I can get better at this and this and this. So you're always chasing that. The only thing is like, most people aren't, full-time streamers, whatever the case is. You might have 2 hours a night, maybe an hour
at night. At most. And if it's per night, it might be like one night a week and you get a couple hours.
You want to play the game. You don't want to be, oh, dang it. And then your buddies play
spectating
around. You're like, that was 30 minutes of my hour I had. You didn't get any better. There was no chance for you coming back.
Yep.
I think people really want to play. The game. You just got to make it a little more accessible in the sense of, hey, if you get, and I'm even with a revive, like, we don't have to have it last the entire game. You can cut it off at phase 3, phase 4.
Yeah, like
whatever you want.
You give it a cutoff.
Yeah, it can be tweaked out at some point, because by that point you're like, the game's, we're midway through, we're over through, but it's at phase 1 and 2. It's like your buddy either resets or he plays the whole round without you, and you're like,
and they're likely resetting. You're likely resetting.
Which makes and even if you're getting the lobbies quick, they're still resetting, getting back, readying up, queuing up, and it's like, you're not playing the game.
Not only is it downtime for you and your buddy, it's also killing the remaining server player count for the other people who are still playing that game. Like, you have 20 people that just leave because their teammates died. It's like, well, that's not doing anyone any good.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's saying make the game. And I think this is probably the thing. No one is screaming make the game easier. People are saying, I want to play the game more. So let's find a way to make you play more. Some people are like, merge queues, this. People want to play. They just want to play more.
Right.
They love the game. They want to play more. I think a simple res system maybe for the first few phases would be like, you get to play more. That's what people want. They want to play more. It's
I agree.
Game. So, certain things like limb multipliers doesn't really, bring in new players. It just kind of makes it like an thing for the current players. A lot of players feel that way. Like I got oh god, it was just the other day. It was I got shot in the leg, in the hip, in the arm with an ump, and I was 2 gear. And I died. It was 3 shots, and it was like I think it was a knee. I got shot in the knee, got shot in the hip, and then I got shot in the shoulder. So 3 bullets from an ump, dead. And they weren't good, not to knock anyone. Well, they weren't like
he wasn't trying to hit you in the leg, arm, and knee.
No, it was like chest shot, headshot. It was like you hit these
spray,
like
here we go. Yeah.
I think the ump at this point is up to, quote me if I'm wrong, put a little asterisk here of the actual thing. I think it's 1.3 or 1.35 for a limb multiplier, I think. So you get rewarded for missing.
What people don't understand too, I say some people, newer players, don't understand that PUBG. If you look at the player model, there are like 7 different hitbox targets in a player model. There's head, there's neck, there's upper chest, middle chest, lower abdomen, and like stomach, and then there's like upper legs, lower legs, arms, hands. So any one of those bullets hits any of those areas, it does different numbers of damage and different multipliers of damage. So it's like, it's so hard to really judge how hard you're being hit if you're on the receiving end of that damage. It's just like, sometimes it's like you're 2 shot, like you said, 3 shots and you're dead from an ump. Or it's like, man, I hit this guy 5 times. He's not dead yet. Like, it's so hard to kind of judge that sometimes.
Exactly. Like shoulder and arm are different things.
Nothing.
And it's like, and like the difference, and it's the thing. Some people are like, bro, I just shot the guy in the head with a bolty and he didn't go down. And it's like, technically it was neck.
Yeah.
So it doesn't count as a headshot. And that helmet does nullify it enough. While it does, the helmet will take damage.
It will take damage.
Because the neck shot.
The neck.
So you're like, their helmet's damaged. I hit him. And it's like, it protects the neck as well, and it's which is the one time when you can damage a helmet with a bolty
and not knock them. Yeah.
Because neck shots are a thing.
Speaking of limb damage multipliers for SMGs, let's talk about some upcoming weapons for PUBG.
Okay.
The P90 is known to be like the absolute shredder SMG because it's in the crate. There's going to be a world. Yeah. There's going to be a world spawn. It takes the special P90 ammo, but it's an SMG. The new world spawn SMG for Deston is the MP9, and according to Dave Curd, it is an absolute shredder.
Okay.
So the MP9
about that, but
the MP9 is going to be, I guess, basically replacing the MP5, but only for Deston.
Got you.
So there'll be the Uzi, I assume, the the Tommy gun, and the MP9 on Deston. Okay. And the MP9, I think, comes with a built-in suppressor, a built-in laser sight. I think maybe like it already comes with some attachments, at least in the little gameplay they showed us like a month ago or whatever. So that's coming out soon.
I mean, I have two opinions with that whole thing. Is I'm not a huge fan of map exclusive weapons. I kind of like the concept. I like, heck, throw all the weapons on all the maps.
All of them.
My flip opinion on hearing that is there are weapons such as the Lynx, the P90, and the AUM. And now this is where you're gonna have to extend your, take out realism. But it is a bummer when you pick up one of these guns early game and you run out of ammo mid game and you find yourself being like, I've now cut myself off. I've always said I would like to see them have versatile ammo. So like say for the P90, if you were like, okay, they use 9mm full metal, whatever, you could make something up. If they run out of your special rounds, which do the damage, it can still take 9mm rounds, but it loses all of its power. So
interesting.
It would fire. At least then you'd be like, okay, mid-fight, I'm not out of bullets. Like the Lynx, I always said, you get your high-powered rounds. If you shoot those 10 off, it becomes, you can put 7.62 in there. It's, it's SKS level or lower. So at least it's still usable.
Would you even use it though at that point? If you have
I would use it as, oh my God. Oh,
what?
Use the Lynx because it's 10 shots.
Yeah, but if it does SKS damage and it shoots slower than an SKS.
But it's usable until you can switch it out, right?
And you're going to immediately switch it out. What's the point?
Yes. Well, is the point is like, how many times do you come to a crate, you're like, oh, it's a Lynx. I don't want it. And you just go pow, pow, pow into the sky.
Okay, yeah. Okay, well, it's a fair point. But that's not because of the limited ammo. That's because that weapon doesn't do enough damage for the limited ammo.
Yeah, well, the whole point of it is not so much a player fighter. It's for cars. It does increase damage against cars.
That's useless. No, it shoots through a BRDM window. That's the only reason they made that gun is because it shoots a bit, but no one fucking has BRDMs anyway.
You can tap cars with it. It's fun.
Yeah, but it's not realistic. You're not going to use it like for that,
Correct. I mean, the reason I don't use it is because the fun is quickly wiped away. I'm like, dude, this is the first crate of the game. I need more than 10 bullets for my sniper, Right. Well, it gets 15 now for the update. Does it?
Yeah, in Deston and one of the maps is bugged. No, the AUM is bugged in Deston and it only gets 10. Sorry,
it's 10 in the security rooms. Yeah.
So the Lynx does get 10 or 15? I forget.
10 as far as I know.
Okay, so 10. All right, which is still not enough. If that's not going to one shot somebody, it's not enough.
No, and that's what I mean. Like it just. All that to say is like the guns with specialty ammos, especially P90, because I had an ammo reduction on it.
Yep.
Like those are rough, like beginning game, especially squads. Like I sometimes I love spraying cars. Sometimes I'll see a car and I'm like, I have the P90. I'm like, not today. Like we're gonna
never. No, never. You always
I don't
spray.
have enough bullets for this.
See, I'm on the flip side of your like I hear what you're saying, but in my opinion, it's a risk reward for that weapon. Because it is gonna murder people in 6 bullets. Like I've had like legit games of solos, excuse me, not solos, solo squads, when I knew I was running low on ammo, and I purposefully put the P90 on single fire so that I can conserve ammo for the end of the game. And I ended up winning the game with the limited amount of ammo, but only because of how much damage each of those limited bullets do.
Would you? With that in mind, would you be okay with it if like after those special bullets were gone, if it became essentially, the equalness of like an Uzi, but maybe a little less damage, just so it was still usable?
I would be okay. I don't care about that. As like, if you want that, sure, go for it. But from a from a competitor, not competitor, like from the enemy standpoint, if I saw you in the kill feed with a P90, there would need to be a way for me to know, like, oh, Noah's got 9mm in it. Fuck it. Like, I don't care. You know, but like, or he's got like an actual P90, you know? So it's like, it's kind of a weird, like.
My idea might be a bit out there. Might be a bit too much.
You're in space. Come on back. Come on back.
Yeah, it might be a little wild. They're like, yeah, you know, you do. It's fun to talk about. Like, you know, you do bring an interesting point. Like, yeah, if I see P90, I'd be like,
I know not to mess with that squad because like they're kidded, like
yeah. Like same thing. If it made the same noise, if I legit, I'll be like, I only got 9mm in here. I'm just shooting it off. Be like, it's a P90. I don't know. Good point. Yeah, you make a who knows? Like, you'd have to start getting crazy. Like, oh man, the silencer breaks off and it starts making loud noises now. And then at that point, we're getting so like crazy out of the realm, you know.
Yeah, at that point, just drop it on the ground. Yeah.
And at its core, I do disagree with you of being like, look, it's a risk reward. If you want to use this weapon, the risk is ammo, you know.
Right.
And so I do also agree with that. Like, I don't think you should get a P90 and be like, oh yeah, no, I can just use it all day. Like,
right.
You know? So I do also agree with that. Like, I shouldn't make it seem like I'm just full sending, being like, no, bro,
yeah, you shouldn't. Stop that.
Yeah. It's just ideas. Like, you know, there's times when I'm frustrated. I'm like, oh, you know what? This team has a BRDM. I got 110 shots of my P90 left.
It's not worth the spray there. It's not worth the spray.
I'm like, I might be able to break it, but like, they're going to come out and I'm going to be like, yeah, I'm out of bullets, guys.
And that's the risk reward. That's how you know, like, okay, like I can't touch them, but when they come out, I'm going to melt them. And
I guess that's the thing, because then I'm like, oh, how do you fix that problem? It's like, well, do you fix that problem? You do.
No, that's part of. I think that's part of the balance. That's part of the balance.
Agreed. I think you start to unbalance it, even if you're like, what if it's just less damaging ammo? You'd be like, it's still too strong, man. Like, I agree with that. You know. Yep. Sometimes it's good just to talk ideas and be like, yeah, these are the ups and downs.
I love what we're doing right now. This is the funnest shit ever. Like, just talking about random ideas in PUBG is because like sometimes you get a nugget out of there. It's like, oh, that's freaking genius. That's awesome. And sometimes you get dumb ideas like. Wait. All right. Before you get off topic of Deston. No, hack the ammo type.
Yeah.
New vehicles coming to Deston.
Yeah.
So we have the airboat. We have the airboat. We have the airboat, which is a ton of fun. I will quickly
try to get off of it.
I will quickly say the airboat does have some bugs. Getting off the vehicle, you take a lot of fall damage for some reason.
I got nudged by it the other day, sent back to the lobby at full health.
You're gone.
I got bumped and it was like, you're dead. And I was like, what?
That happened to me numerous times. When you're driving or riding passenger in the airboat, it's a very high risk reward. Sight lines are super open, so you can shoot at enemies at almost any angle, but equally, they can beam you off this thing so easily too.
Exactly that.
Fast on water, very maneuverable, but once you're on land, you like get off of it. It's useless.
Yeah, it's basically just if you're on land, it's mostly just a transfer to the next water. It's so that way, like, you might be able to hop over the land to get back into the next patch of water. But it's not use this on land type thing.
It's not a hovercraft. It's an airboat. Yeah. There's a distinct difference.
It is.
I kind of wish it was a hovercraft because on land,
they call it a hovercraft, don't they? Or is
it's called an airboat. It's because it's the swamps. It's like it makes sense for the lore, but like. Because it's so unusable on land, it's really like a very niche vehicle, and it's a shame because it's a very unique and fun vehicle. But like unless you're in the swamp,
only for water pathways.
Yeah, which there's like 2 on Deston.
Yeah, I've used them once. One time I used it, and that's when I bumped myself.
They're thin. Like on Tego, you have this huge river. But on Deston, it's like you're gonna get beamed off this freaking thing, you know?
It's like cutting through what do you call it? In Sandhawk.
Yeah, yes. It's exactly like going through that little the one in between
that's my favorite drop, by the way.
With the two bridges across it. Frick, dude, Pine On. Yeah.
That's why I drop all the time.
Yeah.
Anytime you hear a boat, you're like, it's game over.
Dead. Yeah.
You have nowhere to maneuver. If you can go 2 feet this way, 2 feet this way, that's it. They also put like speed bumps in there, which I don't know.
Yeah, so you freaking ramp off them.
Yeah. So it's like you hit them and then you're like, and people are just
Yeah.
But like I do wish it was a hovercraft where at least rode on air pockets rather than the actual ground. And could have a little more versatility on the land, because it is very unique in the sense of if you're in water, you can get on land, you're not going to go fast, but at least it doesn't stall out like a boat,
right it zooms on water too. It's like zero, like it's very maneuverable. It's fun.
It goes fast too. But I have the same thing we were saying. I was playing with Ansley the other day, and We were on a hoverboat. Someone ran up to us on a hoverboat. We shot them off. We're looting them. Another hoverboat comes up. We shoot them off. We shoot the next one off. It was just like, it is easy pickings. It's like shooting someone off the back of the buggy. It's like, you know,
they need to have little little railings on the side or something that blocks bullets, or you know, just a little, cause like a car obviously has doors, window frame, A pillar, B pillar. Airboat, it's like it's literally air. Like you're dead, you know, like you're dead.
I've put some things up there, add a duck feature. I'll just no, it's scary not driving it. It's no, that's the best way to put it. It's scary. It's fun vehicle. It could do more. Fun
vehicle, but needs some tweaks. What about the upcoming police car, the pillar cop car?
I gotta see it. All I know right now, the only thing that makes it unique, right, is that it has sirens.
It has the highest HP of any world spawn vehicle. So it's going to be tankier than other vehicles.
Yeah, it's always, I mean, I guess, how realistic are we going to do like police car windows where it's like, okay, if you're in the backseat, you can't drive by. Like those windows don't roll down for you.
Maybe, you know? Like they might patch that, but as of right now, it's all four. You can lean out the windows all four.
So it's not like the Pony Coupe where it's like if you're in the backseat.
No. You can, all four windows are usable. And it's,
the current state of drive-bys after they receive their big buff and that one patch, anything you do to make cars better just makes it a lot harder to stop drive-bys. They're very prevalent.
Dude, that is like really, what you just said. It's like, this is what you were just talking about. These ideas we're spitballing. That's actually a great idea, having the back windows be barred where you can't lean out of them.
Right.
But you can put people in the backseat of a cop car. Yeah. So you could squat up, but only one person is really realistically shooting out of it, and maybe the driver with a pistol. Yes, that's actually a great balance idea.
Because like you said, if it is going to be tankier, that's just going to make it harder. And vehicles don't blow up instantly anymore. Which there are times when I'm like, yay, and other times when I'm like,
I'm always yay. No, always yay.
Yeah, I think for me, I fall more on the yay side because man, it stunk when you like your vehicle got hit and it just insta blew up on you, you know, and you're like,
it's bad.
Yeah, it can be rough. I think that was. For me, it was an overall change. There are plenty of times when I shoot a vehicle and I'm like, it takes 2 seconds to blow up. But I'm more appreciative when I'm in the vehicle and it doesn't insta blow up.
Did you get like 5 seconds? Like it's like a decent amount of time to like stop and get out and run away real quick or something.
It was rough watching it in professional comp PUBG.
Yeah, comp maybe shouldn't have it. Comp maybe shouldn't. I don't know.
Well, I like that they're able to rotate now and they can give up a vehicle and they lose the vehicle. It was a bummer when you watched the whole team get wiped out because their vehicle insta exploded and you're like, that kind of. Overall, I like the change. I like it for everything. Because on the flip side, it was kind of a bummer to have them insta blow up like that.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, anytime you make a vehicle stronger, like the new cop one coming out, it is just going to incentivize stay in the car and drive by people. And if you've been playing PUBG for some time, you know they are strong. If you played it before the buff, you knew they were kind of risk reward. It was hard to do, but it had a good reward. But they were still they were hard to do.
Now you laser beam and then drive by.
It's a laser beam. Yeah. I got those PUBG awards behind me over here. Where are they? There. And I got those off of the clip where I finished a game on Sandhawk and I did one circle called Victory Lap and I shot 4 people with a drive-by or whatever. And at the time I was like, oh my gosh, but if you look at that now, you'd be like, bro, drive-bys are easy.
Easy, yeah.
And I'm like, well, it wasn't like that at the time. They were hard. Like you bounced around, like you hit a rock. It was like, oh my gosh.
Right.
And now it's just like everything is stable.
Super stable. It's actually more stable to drive the vehicle with your pistol out than it is to not drive with your pistol out on 2 hands on the wheel.
I found that out so quickly, and I used to drive through the fields at Arendelle, and like they're bumpy. And I would just hold my pistol out. It would just stabilize the whole screen.
The entire thing. Crazy. Yeah. Doesn't make any sense.
None. Yeah, there's not much I can say on that other than I'm just like.
What about driving a food truck? How excited are you for that?
Forgot that's a thing.
I think it's going to be like the Porter truck, a very like kind of unmaneuverable vehicle that has extra storage space. I think they're going to use it like the Porter truck in Tego, you know? Like it's going to be big, bulky, clanky. You could probably, this is me just guessing, you can probably only have one person in the front seat lean out. Your other people in the back of the truck, they can't lean out, but there's a storage functionality in it, you know?
It would kind of be cool if like, if you're in the back of the truck, if you weren't sitting, but it was really open the doors.
Oh,
and,
open the back doors and like
yeah, and then you could like
shut the
jump
back.
out right away or something. Or like, you know, if you were in the
That'd be
back
cool.
of the food truck, it'd be cool if you weren't like seated, but rather you could just be in there.
Yeah, yeah.
It'd
Oh,
be
just
cool. You
walk
could, like,
around.
throw grenades out. Yeah, like what? That's what I mean. Like walk around type thing. It'd be cool if like you could throw things out the window. You can't make it too drive-by because like
Right. We just talked about how meta that is.
exactly.
Like,
So like maybe like the doors have to stay shut, but maybe if you have some like upper windows, you could throw some things out of there
or get thrown into it.
Yeah, that'd be
Yeah.
that'd be a thing. Yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do with it. I'm curious.
I thought it was not going to be drivable. I thought it was just going to be like a mobile, not a mobile, but like a boost getter. Like, you know, they have the drink machines on Miramar. I thought it was going to be like that, but just on Deston. But apparently the word is you can drive them.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be curious with it. I wonder how many like boosts you can get. There was a rumor recently that you could get 2 boosts from a
not a rumor,
time.
Confirmed. So that was Steve.
Confirmed?
Steve posted that on Twitter.
I checked the next day and it didn't work. And
I checked it and it freaking worked. And I was like, this son of a gun, it was not lying.
It's gotta be only specific. Is it all of them?
No. I think it is specific ones that you can hit it once. Like you can look at the bottom, hit F.
I'm gonna say
look at the top, hit F, and then boom, boom, you get 2.
I tried
whatever.
every single one, and it never works.
It worked. No, it worked.
I think you lied. Or
did not lie.
The one special one, man.
The one I remember specifically, I did it on arena, like the one the boxing ring in the bottom. That's arena,
that
right?
Works?
Yeah, so like on the second level is where I found it. Anyway, that did work. Redeployable parachutes, we talked about that. Super good addition to PUBG. What about deployable shield cover?
There was a game that did that. What was that? What game? There was a game that did. Oh, is that I think that's Warzone. Call of Duty.
Warzone has deployable shield cover. PUBG is adding that. 19.1, I believe.
I mean, interesting. You can see how it goes. I don't, like I said, I'm not like opposed to it. I'm not like, oh, that's what we need. But I'm like I said, sometimes you don't, say that's what we need or don't need. You let it, enter and then see how it plays in the gaming world.
If they put it in as I would expect them to do as tactical gear, do you see anybody dropping a primary weapon for a shield?
I personally think tactical gear should be retweaked and you should have a tactical slot. I don't see much tactical gear replacing weaponry. At its core, people play PUBG because the gun mechanics are so unique. People don't want to give up those mechanics that they love. Because it's really not how the game has been loved. Like people aren't in it for like
it's a great point.
The mass variety and maybe the Warzone offers. They're in it because the gunplay is good and because it plays like a strategic game of chess of like, where am I? Where's my enemy going to be? Where's my next move? And then where's my mechanical skill to, capitalize on that move?
Right.
So like tactical gear, even things like, take the drone, for example. I think if you had a tactical spot, if you did I'll call it the Call of Duty version of the drone, you get a drone, but it has a time limit on it and then it's done,
Okay.
I think like, even if it was like a 30-second time limit, that being said, I think I'm not a big fan of the tactical gear. Like I don't want a drone looking at me when we're top 7. And even if you have 30 seconds, you find everyone in the final circle. I don't know. I guess I'm not really sure where like tactical gear fits in PUBG. I feel like often it's been brought in and then it gets nerfed to the point of why is it even in here? It's just
spotter scope.
An item spot.
Spotter
scope, tactical bag. They all started off very strong and then, that wasn't what PUBG was all about, and then they get nerfed, and I'm like, now it's just taking up a spot on my hot drop when I'm trying to fight this guy, and I'm like, what am I gonna throw the tactical shit at you? I'm like,
yeah.
So often, like that's often tactical gear hasn't really worked its way into PUBG because it's not.
Except the EMT gear.
Yeah, that thing can be fire.
EMT gear is the most deadly item 2 you could have on a hot drop, or a team gunfight.
I just won a game the other day with it, EMT gear and MK. So MK is
because it's a versatile weapon. You could use it close and long.
Best gun in the game, hands down. And yeah, someone even hit me a little bit. I first aided full health in 3 seconds. Yeah, didn't even carry a med kit. It was
you don't need to. Don't need to. Who needs the boost?
No,
don't need it.
Exactly. Don't need it. Why do I need a boost when I can full heal?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, that's really the only tactical gear that even is considerable to drop my other weapons for.
Right now, the drone is, but only on Deston and only to get a security key to then go get a proper weapon to replace it with.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what I was saying. I don't think it replaces a primary. And even if we went like my approach of being like making it a tactical, I think it's too overpowered. Even if it only had a 20-second, 10-second runtime, that's plenty for a huge advantage for something that you don't have to give up anything to carry, you know?
What if you had to give up a primary weapon slot for it, but the drone was able, and this was recommended or suggested in the AMA, what if it had like a couple of flashbang or stun capabilities in it? Like you could go into a bathroom. No, wait, like someone's camping in a bathroom.
Yeah.
You fly the drone in there, boom, and like you self-destruct the drone and it flashbangs everyone in the room, and then you run in and clear it. Or your teammate is ready to go in and clear it.
So I guess going back to what you said, risk reward, what's the risk?
You are driving the drone like a dum-dum in your little tablet and exposed. Yeah, but you're exposed.
Yeah, there's squads. If we know we're in the room, right? It's a very accurate flashbang.
It's very.
It's like if someone's holding a 2-floor on Miramar, you're like, okay, top floor, flight right into their face, go! Like
right.
Woo, you flashbang, throw a million nades up there and rush them. Go. It's like, okay, well, if it fails, what's the worst thing? We lost our flashbang. Now we just push like normal. So
yeah.
I think that's what I mean. Like tactical gear is just hard. It doesn't really. PUBG was built around not having that tac gear. So often introducing a whole new element of tac gear into a game that's been built around not that often doesn't feel like it plays smoothly.
What if they put it in inventory space, like they did the bicycle, like just general inventory space, but it's super duper heavy. Like it's worth 50 that's capacity.
It's the best, yeah.
Which is 5 first aids. You know, it's the same weight of a bicycle. You put a bicycle in, you're like, I can't carry anything else. Like it's so heavy. Maybe it balances a little bit there. We're like, oh, I'll take an EMT gear and sacrifice the weight of 5 first aids or 3 grenades or whatever, you know?
I mean, EMT gear is so strong. But like that one, I feel like the risk reward is.
But the balance is that you still have to move it to your weapon slot to use the item. Like you still have to like drop a gun.
Does the weapon go in your inventory? Or does weapon?
No, got to go on the ground. Like it's like you'd have to drop a gun to use the said item for whatever time period.
Yeah.
But that way you're not like sacrificing the whole game of weapon for it.
Yeah, it's hard because like initially I'm like, oh, like, sure, and then I play it out and I'm just like it's hard for me because like I think the drone specifically and even spotter scopes are one of the ones that are just so, even when you nerf them, they're still just so strong if you're able to carry them for free. You know, being able to put a wall ping on someone that follows them through walls with the spotter scope, or a camera that you can send 100 feet up and look at the whole circle for free is really.
But the thing is only one shot and it's done too. Like it's very easy to spot a green red light and shoot the dang thing out the sky.
True. I mean, you get the information so quick. It's like and you can pick it right back up. I don't know. It's really hard for me to even like think with tactical stuff. Falling all the way back to like the deployable ballistic shield. Because again, the game wasn't built around that. The game was built around being tactical, using vehicles, using
their terrain.
Exactly. And that's how the gunplay was built. That's how the guns were balanced. Like scopes were introduced. How everything was built was around this system. And then you bring in these crazy concepts of like, oh, what about deployable shields? What about a drone that flies up and you can spot anyone? And you're like it wasn't planned like that. Like, you could even say Warzone planned around having a drone. They have a lot of cover. So often the drone, but PUBG is more about terrain. You go high enough up, you see it's open terrain, just hills, but that doesn't matter. You're staring at everyone, So it's tricky.
Yeah, it is. I'm both sides. I 100% see what you're saying, and I do agree with a lot of it. On the other side, I applaud PUBG for at least trying to like shake the meta up a bit.
Agreed.
Agreed. Like it's kind of fun just to try new, fresh things out, even if they suck. It's just like, oh, this is different. This is like I didn't do this before.
Exactly. As much as silly that the tactical bag was and the spotter script was, it was a fresh thing for a little bit. Right. I was like, it's funny.
Right.
And they do make sure not to throw it into rank or anything like that. It is, like I said, like I'm never going to tell don't try something because you're never going to know if it works. Even if players are against it, you got to try it to see if it works.
You got to.
But
heartbeat sensor?
Yeah.
Because that's coming.
Yeah, that's another Warzone-esque thing where Warzone built around it because they put in stealth. Throughout that game, you get stealth abilities that hide you from the heartbeat sensor. This is just like, we never were planning on this. Like,
right. But you have to sacrifice a weapon.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna knock anyone for trying anything new. And PUBG has been pretty good of being like, in that sense of being like, we're gonna nerf it to oblivion and it's gone now. You know?
Yeah. So so it sounds like you're not looking forward to the heartbeat sensor. Like you could care less.
Yeah, care level is not super high on it. I'm always interested to see how something new plays. I don't want to see. Tego was a learning ground, and I think you see that in Deston, that Deston learned a lot from Tego. I don't want to see Deston turn into Tego 2.0, where Tego started off with a lot of crazy things, multiple crate drops, revives,
right?
The
comeback BR,
yeah, or as a lot of people call it, the PUBG gulag,
right?
You know, and it just kept piling up, and it's just like every new thing that was being added. We had, I think they call them the error zones on, and they're only on Tego. They're like
where the special weapons spawn that all in other maps. Yeah,
which is like 4 weapons,
right?
And it just it became player unknown experimental grounds there, like. And if Destiny is, I feel like it is a good spot. Like, we could tweak like the 3 gear, but they're no, we're adding more. We're gonna add heartbeat sensors, crazy cars, and I'm like, are we doing a Tego here? Like, are we gonna get to the point where it's gonna be so arcadey again that it's just not something we want to be on?
Yeah,
I really like Destin,
that's a tough one, man. You make a good point. Because
Destiny has been really fun for me. I was like, man, this map feels like. I queued up on and I don't mean to knock the map. I love the map, but I queued up on an Arrogale the other day on accident. I was like, bro, I want to be back on Destin. I'm having fun on Destin.
Right.
You know? So I'm like, it feels good. The only thing I'm like at this point I think to adjust is like, okay, what can we do about the 3 gear? Because like end game, it is a lot of 3 gear.
It's like Vikendi and Tango. Vikendi and Tego, like where everyone has level 3 gear at the end.
Exactly. And not to knock them too much, the self revives. I won a game yesterday. The last 4 players I killed each had a self revive, and I finished the game. I finished with 4 self revives on my character.
I wish they would take out self revives and add the team revives and be done with it, because I think it's a little too much.
I think they also, there's always going to be the topic of flushing, which is a whole talk for a day.
Right.
But people are like, don't flush. If you're on Destin,
you have to.
Yeah,
because everybody can have it. Their world spawns.
Yeah, I'm always the type. I'm like tactical flush all the way.
I never flush. Except on Destiny.
We're on opposite sides.
Right.
I'm tactical flushing. I don't need to give anyone else an advantage. The other day I was doing random squads. I knocked 2 people, and then their 2 teammates were on the hill, and my team was fighting them. I didn't flush them because I wanted that team to come down to try to get their teammates.
Save them. Yeah.
And I'm looking up trying to snipe him, and I hear beep right next to me. I was like, oh god! Like he sat there with his revive for
10 seconds,
a handful of seconds.
Yeah.
And then he tried to turn it on me, and I was like, oh my god! I had to flush him.
Right.
But it's funny because I flushed him and then was like, oh, wrong guy. And I flushed the other guy. But I was like, oh my God. But like, it's like on that map, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't leave anyone.
You can't risk it. Especially late game. You really can't risk it late game.
No. Like I said, I think that whole topic of flushing, not flushing, it's all when it's personal rules, like, people make up their own personal rules. There's always going to be 2 sides to it. I think PUBG should, if PUBG wants to address it, it's like, you can't be mad at a player for making their personal decision in a game.
No.
If it's allowed in the game, you can be upset with PUBG for being like, yo, can we have a revive mechanic? It's the same thing with shotguns. I'm not a huge fan of where shotguns currently sit. I'm not going to fault anyone for using a shotgun. I'll use a shotgun if it needs. It's the advantage thing to do.
Right.
But you can be like, yo, PUBG, can we address this? Take it up with PUBG. You can't take it up with the player,
right.
And that's where same thing I feel with flushing. Like, talk to PUBG about it, but don't take it out on the player, because I think too often people are like, how dare you flush, like, and try to
there's a whole Twitter threads about I agree
every other week about it.
Right.
Yeah, and my whole thing, I'm like, if let a player play, they can play however they want. If they want to sit in a corner with a shotgun, that's cool. If they want to flush, that's fine. If PUBG allows it and it's illegal and not cheating, take it up with PUBG, not the player.
But that's also part of the charm of PUBG, is that being a big BR, that there is so much versatility. And with that said, that's why I kind of I enjoy the tactical gear. Not that I use it that much personally, but just the fact that it gives players a different approach. And what's really interesting is that a lot of us streamers don't realize and don't really see, most players don't play like we do. Most players are super casual, chilling. I want to loot more than I shoot kind of vibe. And so for them, it's like, it's a fun thing. Oh, I have a drone, bro. Let me get some eyes in the sky. Like, you know, and even though their friends may be horrible shots, it might not even kill the person they're targeting. It, you know, it's just something fun to do, like in the game. And so like for me, I'm like, like you made a comment about, is it becoming too arcadey? Me, I'm like, fuck it, go for it, because I'm not going to use it, and I'm still going to dominate the way I dominate. Like, you do what you want to do and have fun. Like, you know, like, I don't know. So I see both sides of it.
I agree with that too. I'm also following the same mindset. I'm like, I'm a split. I'm like, is it going to be too arcadey? I'm also just like, just add it. Why not?
Why not? Yeah.
Be willing to change it if you need to, but just add it.
Yeah, and don't put in a competitive. Keep competitive integrity.
For sure.
Yeah.
I often think, you know, it's similar to like streaming. Not everyone is trying to be the best at PUBG. Some people are just, you know, hanging out and having fun.
Yeah.
Same thing with streams. Not everyone's trying to grow or like make it or make even money from it or grow in popularity. Some people are just enjoying the concept. It's a hobby. It's fun, you know, it's a thing to do. So yeah, I think the same thing. I'm like, yeah, just do it. Why not? I do also think the topic of like ranked and public games is rough, because there is partially, I feel like sometimes a disconnect with PUBG esports and the public community, because the rules are so different.
Yeah.
And you don't really often see that in many esports. Most esports, the difference between an esport match and a regular match is that there might be a few more matches before the winner is determined, but the rules aren't changed.
Are the
like
same.
The bullets don't. Yeah, there's not different loot drops. Like, you know, Apex, we'll take that because it's a popular BR. When those are in tournament settings, it's not like the loot's different. It's still the same, you know. But ranked PUBG, competitive PUBG, people often who just play the game, you know, casually, are like, how can you even play that competitively? It's like, oh, the loot's entirely different.
Yeah.
The
circle settings are way different. Yeah.
The circles move at different speeds. They also aren't random. They, you know, they do eliminate what professionals call non-playables, which are areas on the map that it will start to get rid of a percentage of. So the circle, you can guess where the circle is going to shift.
Right. Like it won't go over mainly water, or it won't go over like a big hill you can't get on or something like that.
Yeah, like certain mountains, like, you know, by phase 4 and stuff, like it is trying to get rid of like 10% of the unplayable currently in the zone. So you can guess, you know, like, oh, it's going to get off that mountain, so it's going to go this way.
Yeah.
In public settings, it can end in like the
random
ocean half the time.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes it creates an odd disconnect, and I would love to see more shortening the gap. But like you said, it is hard, because if you do want to experiment with fun stuff in public, but you want to keep it out of competitive, you are, you know, keeping that gap there.
You can't have like EMT gear and shit like that in esports. Like you just, that's not it's a non-option. No. You know, so it's tough. What about the PUBG Workshop? What's your opinion on PUBG Workshop? Have you used it yet?
I did. It's the kind of free crate system to get
free
apparel.
Yeah,
I say kind of free
because you can use BP, but it's a large amount of BP.
Yes. And so there's use BP to get free crates, which give you a percentage of getting clothes that were once in the game.
Yep.
Or paid and paid items that you can get essentially for like free.
Yep.
Or you can buy the paid versions, which you have better odds of. And it falls in like the hideout crates. There are 2 current item sets, like clothing sets, that you need to get special tokens for that you can only get from the paid crates.
From the paid crates, yeah.
And it's at a certain price point. If you spend it, you will have, because you get a certain amount every single time.
You get 10 artisan tokens per every like premium 2800 G-Coin crate or whatever. Yeah.
And so I think it comes out to like those items in the shop, if you end up getting the worst luck and you have to spend the full amount, would be like $180 a piece.
Yeah.
And I'm not a big fan of it. I'm always a fan of just put an item up for sale, put a price on it. If it's expensive, it's expensive. I'm never a big fan of RNG gamble type stuff when it comes to, you know, in-game items like that.
Right.
It's a cool, you know, it's for the free aspect of it. Is it a cool concept of being like, oh, you have a free way to use your BP and then, you know, break things down for free and like potentially get some stuff? Sure. I like that. You know, the paid part is where I think it gets messy and not something like that I'm really like interested in, I guess maybe is the right way.
Yeah.
It doesn't pull my attention like, oh, I've not engaged with the hideout. Like I do the free, like every week you get a free hideout crate.
Yep.
And I opened those, but I've never used any of my money.
With your BP, you get 10 contraband coupons every week, right? Yeah.
And BP is the free currency. It doesn't cost any money to make BP in the game. You play the game.
You gotta play the game. Yep.
Yeah. The paid currency is G coin, and you can use G coin to open the crates.
Right.
And if you luck out getting the weapon, you then have to use
a lot.
You have to use a lot more G coin to then level it up to a level where you think it would be cool. It's advertised always at level 10. When you get it, it's at level 1, and it costs a lot of money to level it up.
Yeah, like some of them are like over $1,000 if you wanted to buy your way up to the levels. Yeah. Okay. So
at a minimum
the hideouts is scammy. There's no way to get around it. The hideout's scammy.
Yeah.
It's very gambly.
Because that's their thing is I believe it follows the gotcha method, which is technically it's not gambling, because at gambling at no point you're guaranteed the item. The gotcha method is you could get the item at a smaller price point, but at a guaranteed price spent, because you're guaranteed the salvageable stuff, you will have enough salvageable
to get the schematics that you need to unlock.
Correct.
And I
believe one of the games that made that really popular was Genshin Impact, which is like characters. You could spend $20, get the character, but every time you open one of those things, you get like a special token. If you spend $500, at least you'll have enough special tokens to get the character. So you're guaranteed it at $500, but you are potentially getting it for less, which is what we see with PUBG's hideout.
Right.
At a certain amount of money spent, by opening paid crates, each paid crate gives you, say, one salvageable thing.
Yeah.
And that's at a certain amount, you'll be like, well, I have enough salvageable now, even though I didn't pull it, to just buy it. Because you can buy the item itself with salvageable, which is only from the paid crates. So technically, it's not gambling. It's just gambling.
It's gambling, Noah. God damn it, it's gambling.
Don't get me wrong, it's gambling. But I'm saying, like, I think that's
the legal way they get around it.
There's a lot of legal laws, I think, in certain countries that are like, no gambling. But they're like, I guess that method isn't gambling. You're just technically, the gun is $500 for the gun.
But they don't put that price on it. They just say, like, hey, you have to buy X amount to get to it.
Yeah.
But they don't advertise, hey, it's going to cost you $1,000. Yeah.
Correct. I think at $500 is the price point. People figured out that if you spend that, you will be guaranteed
you'll get it.
The gun. Yeah.
But the workshop, though, I personally have enjoyed the workshop, but I'm also in the, like you, I'm a PUBG partner. And so they give us a free G coin each season.
Yeah, we have an allowance.
Right. So like it's not really a fair comparison, but one thing I did appreciate about the workshop that is not similar to the hideout is when you so you can, like, let's say you open up a crate, a workshop crate, like a hunter's chest. You get a random item in there. You can take 3 of those random items of equal value and what they call repurpose them. If you take 3 items and repurpose them, it will in turn give you a guaranteed item that you do not currently own of equal value.
That's what I said. The free aspect of what's this one called? The workshop. Is cool. It does have a paid aspect, which is similar to the hideout, which I'm not a fan of because again, at the end of the day, it is just gambling.
Yeah.
But the free aspect of the workshop, it's cool.
It's cool.
Spend BP on. It's free. Yeah. Like I said, we get an allowance as PUBG partners. I've never used my allowance on any of the hideout thing ever. I've always just kept it. No, I hold on to mine. I just pick up.
I spend mine every freaking time.
I know a lot of partners do. I'm sitting on a few allowances of
no
G-coin.
shit. Do you have like 30,000 plus G coin?
I think I have like I have a bit. I have
Dang.
I think I have like, you said 30,000 plus. I think I'm at 75,000 G
coin.
Yeah, it comes out to like what,
God.
like $700 and something.
God, that's probably more than that. Yeah, golly.
I use my G coin how I find
for specific items is like what you want to buy. Okay,
when the store refreshes, if something's cool there, I'm like, okay, like I'll just pick that up. Like why not? So I end up just always being able to have enough to get free emotes or free outfits.
I get it. Yeah.
I wouldn't find much serotonin in opening random crates for myself.
So you don't like going to the casino?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't gamble.
You
Yeah,
know, okay.
I'm not a fan. That's what I was explaining before. Like it's not gambling, but it is gambling. So like I don't tell people to go do it. It's not
But like
my
you
cup
can
of tea.
like you can tell they do lean into that aspect, because it's like the whole process of like opening a crate, it's a whole animation, and like
Oh, yeah.
colors are changing and shit's open and then sparks are flying, like, oh, what am I gonna get? Like, oh, school shoes brown or whatever it is, you know, like
yeah. It's not something I lean in. I only ever use, I do it once a week, and I use the freebie ones they give me.
Right,
And from
right.
those, I've gotten the Halloween M4 and the new
my favorite
MK12.
M4, my favorite M4,
And
the Halloween.
Yeah, and I've not upgraded them. They've stayed at level 1.
Level,
I'm like,
yeah.
nope. Like, that's what they're saying. I'm like, I'm not, I'm not doing it. Nope, I'm not. If someone is, responsible, they have the money, they get their happiness from doing that. Cool. I think the danger in it is people end up chasing a feeling and potentially do it with money they don't have, and I think that's the danger of it. And especially when it's not advertised as gambling, like it's a guaranteed at certain points. I think that's the danger, is because they are sometimes masking it. It can be a dangerous ground to be like, it's not gambling because technically you get it at a certain point, but I'm like, but you're gambling just to get it lower. And then even if you do get it,
you got to upgrade it or whatever.
Yeah, you upgrade it, so you're gonna spend more.
I heard
I don't know the average amount, but
it's high. I heard that in EU they are like, legislation is potentially going to eliminate gambling from like gaming or whatever, like loot boxes from gaming or something, which I mean, like that would be like awesome, but
yeah. A lot of I know a lot of other countries have already done it, and viewers have come by stream being like, so like the new crates, the workshop ones, you can use your BP to get them.
Yep.
Or you can pay for the paid versions. I had people come by and be like, oh, I don't even have that I don't have the paid version in my game. Like that's just not there.
They don't even have the option to buy the paid version.
Nope, because their countries have already legislated against it.
No shit.
Correct. A lot have legislated against gambling.
Wow.
And then that's why I said a lot of like gambling got outlawed. So they started doing the gotcha method, which is like, it's not gambling because technically you
always eventually get it if you keep going.
Yeah, exactly. You'll get it at this price point. You could get it for less. And that's like the gotcha method. But then a lot of countries are becoming aware of this and have started to take that out as well. Yeah. Because it is gambling. It is 100%. Gambling for a lower point.
100% it's gambling.
It would be like if you went to a casino and they're like, look, you'll win $1,000 maybe sooner, but if you spend 10 grand, we'll give you the, you'll
for sure win 1,000. Yeah.
Exactly. So like, it's not technically gambling because you do have a guaranteed win at some point,
Right.
Whereas like in true gambling, there's no guaranteed win, but it is still gambling. It's just a different kind of gambling. And I think that's dangerous to like advertise to people who might,
not have the self-control to be like, oh, I shouldn't do this.
It's just not something I want in video games. Like I grew up same time as you. Like if I wanted an item, it was from the DLC store, and like
you had to grind for it, or you had to grind for it. Like you got to do these crazy missions and like earn the skin. Like you remember, you ever played Halo? Were you a Halo fan? So Halo 3 was the flame helmet. Right, right. Yeah. So like, and you had to grind for it. And it was like when you saw someone have it, it was like, oh shit, like this is
the samurai sword, the flame helmet. Right. You were just like, I hope he's on my team.
Right.
Yeah. Like I do miss that in video games. Like I miss having earnable things that are like, even Call of Duty, it was like my main shooter growing up. And that always had skins that like if you saw someone with the blue tiger skin, you were like, how many headshots do you have?
Yep. And the prestige ranks and stuff too.
Exactly. And then they started to bring out DLC, but the DLC was, this skin is this amount. You pay this amount, you get this skin. It was not gambling. It was just that. And if I'm more of the sense of like, I'd rather see that than like the gambling.
I agree.
Games. Like, I would much rather just be like, look, even if you want to be like, fine, it's a $50 skin. At least we know that gets you that.
Don't sugarcoat it. Tell me what you want to charge for it, and I'll make the choice if it's worth it or not to me.
Exactly. Because most people are gambling off the choice of like, maybe I can get it for cheaper.
Yeah. Also, let me resell it if I want to in the Steam store. Like, don't make items non-marketable. That's so silly. So silly.
Yeah. I would agree.
It make no sense. All right. What else, Noah? Anything else for PUBG we should talk about? Anything else for streaming we should talk about?
I mean, there's topics all day. I mean, PUBG, it's got a lot of new stuff. I say try it out. Give it some time if you're looking for a shooter. It's a shooter that's been around for a while, and there's a reason. I have a lot of hope that it keeps doing what players like and keeps expanding. Like everyone, I think it could become I think it's one of the biggest BRs out there, period.
It's got to be top 5, top 4.
Oh, 100%. I think gamers are quick to, say things have faded out after a week of not playing it. So I by no means like everything is faded out. I think it's held its ground for some time. I, of course, like every PUBG player, dream about like a PUBG 2, because I think like most things, the players who have left who once played it will never come back regardless of what you change, because it still has the same title. You're gonna have to say a new title. It's like, if I don't play Apex, if they change everything in their game, to me it's still Apex. It doesn't matter what you change it.
Right.
You're just changing it for the current player base. So if you want new players, I think the biggest thing is you gotta say it's PUBG 2.
Right. Which is what Fortnite did, but it's still Fortnite. They just called it Fortnite 2.0.
Basically, yeah.
Genius.
Right? Like, yeah. And I mean, they saw the big address. I will say Fortnite was smart on it. They saw the big thing that was, holding players out from accessing their game, which was building. And they're like, let's try mode without building. And their player amount jumped.
And it was fun. That mode's fun. I enjoyed that mode.
I had never played Fortnite before, ever. And then they said, we're going to take away building. It was the first time I downloaded Fortnite and played it. And I was like, oh, this is fun.
Yeah, it's not bad.
I was like, I'm enjoying this. And I think a lot of people would feel that way with PUBG if they were like, I don't play that game. Did you die in 2 seconds and then you can't come back? I think if you put a revive, people might be like, okay, I like this.
Right, I'll give it a go. Yeah. Or people who used to play it, like, all right, I'll come back and maybe bring some of their friends to come play it.
Exactly. I think that's the big thing. So with PUBG, I got a lot of hope for it. There's, like I said, there's always games out there to play. Even if you say you love PUBG, you play PUBG all day. If you're not feeling PUBG, don't make yourself play PUBG one day just because you feel like you have to.
Right.
You'll just end up resenting it regardless. So always, have a game you like, but also always be willing to, give yourself time off from a game and play other stuff.
Have you played the new Cat game yet?
I've not played Stray yet.
I want to play it. I want to play it.
Yeah. Oh, there's a lot of games out there I've been playing, especially recently. Like they dropped a lot of stuff. I played through The Quarry, which was a story-based horror game. Very good. It was the follow-up to Until Dawn. I played the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle game, Shredder's Revenge.
The new one? There's a new TMT?
Yeah.
TMNT?
Mm-hmm.
Wow,
Plays like Turtles in Time. Great graphics. Fantastic. I've been playing Monster Hunter Rise. I've been a Monster Hunter fan for so many years, and they came out with Rise, and they came out with a new DLC. I've been playing that.
Where do you find the time?
I switch it up, I've been playing The Forest again because Sons of the Forest is coming out soon. That's a horror game. That's the follow-up to The Forest. I've been playing that again because Sons of the Forest, Children of the Forest. It's the follow-up finally after so many years is coming out. And I've been playing that again. And then on Fridays I do community night. So I put aside whatever I'm playing and we do community games.
Y'all are doing Fall Guys and something else this week, right?
This coming week. Yeah, I'm doing Fall Guys, and then this weekend on Steam. I've not played it yet, but it's free for the weekend to play. It's Rubber Bandits. So it's like a party game.
Okay.
They're like rubber characters. You try to steal money from each other. It's like a party game.
Okay.
So we're going to do that. We're going to do Fall Guys. I really try to keep it. And I think often, relating it back to being, if like my goal is to keep growing as a content creator. So I don't think you want to always, unless that one game is launching you, I don't want to be limited to just one game, especially as I don't want to be known as just that one streamer.
That's tough.
Because if that game goes, where's your content?
Right.
If that's what you've been relying on. So relying on a chat that's not there.
Right.
So I think playing so many games is fun and enjoyable and gets me out to meet more people. And I do want to be known for myself and the community we've built rather than just being like, oh, he's very good at this game.
PUBG, yeah. He's the PUBG streamer. Yeah.
Exactly. And I think that's dangerous with anything. If you become the PUBG streamer, the Fortnite streamer, whatever, we've seen it happen. I'm not saying if you're Shroud level being like, bro, PUBG is bringing me the numbers right now, keep on that one game. But you also got to know when maybe to start including other games. I think the danger is staying on it too long or not seeing success with it, hoping for success that once was there.
Yeah.
Maybe it might not be there at the moment,
There is a weird line though, where it's like, with what I feel in terms of content creation stuff, you have to keep a level of consistency.
Yes.
And like on YouTube is a prime example. If you make your YouTube channel and you don't put out consistent videos on the same consistent topic, whether it be a video game or a topic or whatever, like the growth is very hard to come by. But if you stay with like the same niche thing, you become known for that. So you grow that audience. And at some point, the goal is to maybe expand out to other things. But if like one day it's like a PUBG video, the next day it's a Halo video, then a Battlefield video, you're all over the place. Like nobody knows what the hell's going on. Like, you know, it's hard to garnish like, yeah.
Variety is the hardest aspect to go with. And I agree with that, especially on YouTube. That's why I think why you see people with like YouTube, like CDome PUBG, and then you'll be like CDome IRL. Like this is my
right,
IRL,
a separate channel. Right, yeah.
Because you do accumulate an audience. Like I'm here for this. And if you're gonna do just gaming, you know, take like a Markiplier type person where he's like, I'll play whatever game. He's a variety gamer, and he's, you know, variety is the hardest one to pull off.
Tough.
Because yeah, you have to usually be big enough that you've, especially at this point, you had to be big enough to where you can jump between. You're always going to be in the top line. You know,
right?
You can't start off at variety now.
No,
I do think you have to have at least one or two in your back pocket that you're like, oh, I'm good at this. I've built a community with this, and like anything, if you're moving from like, especially on Twitch, you know. We'll use PUBG. If I'm like say playing PUBG, I know if I switch off PUBG, it's going to drop. But there will be enough people who have come to enjoy that the channel is more than just PUBG, and will stay with you for the other one.
Big time, you know? Yeah. You're not going to go from like 50 viewers to 0 viewers. You're going to have a core base audience that like will follow you to whatever games 100%. You're enjoying and stuff. Yeah.
And I mean, and that's the thing. There's no right answer or formula. That's the thing you're always balancing as a creator. Is like, is that drop off worth it? Was this like? And sometimes like. At part of it, if your goal is growth, and I speak of this, if it's a hobby, having fun, just have fun,
right?
And there's nothing wrong with that. There are times when I, as a person who is trying to grow, I'm like, I know this isn't going to grow, or I just want to play this. I just want to have a little fun, you know. And it's a balance, but like, you know, you do have to sometimes weigh: is this like I want to play this game? And you're like, but I want to try to see if I can grow with it. Is it gonna grow you? Like. Or is it just you just want to play, you know? Because you do have to weigh that. Like, okay, if I play mainly PUBG and I jump and I go play Stray, a lot of PUBG players aren't going to stay with me. And will it increase my growth on like Twitch? No. Can I maybe have some fun with it and just enjoy life a little bit? Absolutely.
Yeah.
And also maybe through that you get some, you can throw it out there elsewhere.
Yeah, maybe you get some Twitter clips or some TikTok clips or something out of it, or yeah.
Well, it's like referencing what you said back to Twitter. I really try to keep like. I try to make sure my Twitter isn't a PUBG Twitter. I try to make sure my Twitter is who built the
Noah.
Like,
yeah.
Exactly. And so to hear that people have noticed it is what I'm going for. I don't want people to be like, that's Noah. He just always posts PUBG clips. Scroll.
Right.
Like, you know,
right.
I do want it to be like, oh, that's funny. That's original. Like, you know, I feel like this is the personality. Like, you know, this is the person. So that's where I really try to like aim with that type of content. And the same thing with like, you know, whether it's Twitter or Instagram or TikTok or whatever that you're going for, like you try to bring a different aspect to it.
Do you think, like, do you have a plan of, you know, a 5-year plan? Like, do you have like a goal of like what you like would really like to be doing with content creation? Like, do you really want to do this full time? Like,
I really
stream, YouTube, that kind of stuff.
I think the biggest thing that has always been to me, and it's probably the more cheesy cliche answer of that, is I really do like building a community where it is just like people understanding that whatever you're going through, you don't have to go through it alone, that there are people who just like to hang out, make people smile, and, you know, just enjoy life as you're going through it. Like I really do enjoy that aspect of content creation is because I think I've been at the side of it. We all have, you know, ups and downs in life and times when you're just like, I just need to like put on, I've been at times where I'm like, I'm just not feeling my best, you know, and I'll put on a YouTube video of someone who just made content. And I'm like, you just end up feeling like you're not alone. Like I am like, I'm by myself, but like, I'm like, you know, I'm not, it doesn't feel alone. Like I feel like, you know, you're enjoying it. And, you know, it's probably similar to how, you know, the same thing of always like leaving Netflix on or something, you know, it's content for people to enjoy how they would like to enjoy it, whether they're needing a laugh, want to eat you while watching food,
right? Want to eat you while watching.
Sorry, flip those around. Clip
it. That's the opening clip.
And you know, people take your content and they use it for what they need it for in their life, and I think whatever context they're using it in, it's to when people let you know that like, hey, I watched this, you know, when I was just hanging out. Hey, I was watching this when I wasn't feeling good. It made me feel better. Like that's a big reward in itself.
Yeah, I agree.
And usually that's what puts the gas in my tank to essentially keep doing stuff and to keep, you know, challenging myself and keep like criticizing myself and like in a healthy way of like being like, okay, like, you know, I think you do need to do that as a streamer and a content creator. You can't. You have
to. You can't be complacent.
Exactly.
If you want to grow.
Streaming.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like it sounds like, but streaming is not that. Everything else is so much harder. Making yourself challenge and think of new content, setting aside. Streaming is the most fun part.
Right.
Hang out, play games, entertain. But setting aside and like editing your clips, thinking of ideas, waking up.
And you've learned a lot in editing too. Like you've really been like hustling on like learning editing, learning how to do the transitions and all, the little memes and stuff. Like
and all of that.
It's noted that you've been doing that and like working on it,
Yeah, and you need to, and I will say like that's definitely not the most fun part.
No,
and why I've definitely
not for most people.
Yeah, and I've been making sure to give myself a little more time off, even if it needs to be like that, because I was always like the 7-day-a-week type person. But I was like, I need a day off so I can actually like.
You need a mental break. You need like a recharge, a refresh.
Exactly.
Have to. You'll get burnt out otherwise.
100%. And on top of that, I'm like, I found me streaming 9 hours and then trying to work on content and edit after, from 1 a.m. to 4 a.m. It wasn't effective. Like I was like, this should take me like an hour, but because I'm tired, I'm skipping things. I'm like, I could make this better, but it's gonna be a little more work. I'm tired. And I'm like, exactly. I'm like, I need to give myself a proper day off to be like, no, you're editing today. Like that's what you're doing, and you're not gonna be tired. That you will go the extra step to make it a little more entertaining,
Or stream for 6 hours and edit for 3 instead of stream for 9. Like yeah.
And that's. Yeah, it goes back to the thing we were talking before. Sometimes you're like, oh, but I'm having fun. And you're like, but I need to edit. And like
the long-term payoff is different. Long-term, but like YouTube is a weird little animal because you do so much work on the front end and you hit the publish video and you just sit there. It's like, okay, well now what? Like now I have to wait to see if it, if people are receptive to it, if I did something good or bad. Like it's a weird animal where when you're live, it's like, you're actively looking at chat like, okay, they are vibing with me or they're not vibing with me. But like, YouTube's a weird.
It in a second. It's wild. Like you're like, oh, this isn't going so well. Let me flip it. And then everyone's like, yeah, it's the same thing with me. Sometimes you're like, I have a scene like it's a hype club, lights going off. I'm like, you know what? We need a burst of energy. Flip it, crank the music,
Right.
And then you can see the quick change in chat.
People spamming emotes and everything. You're like,
exactly.
Yeah.
You can change things so quickly sometimes. And like on YouTube is definitely, that's where I'm probably the least familiar with because it's very time consuming. And I'm only just now really giving myself an understanding, like I need to set aside time that isn't Twitch content.
Right.
And, even though I make good content like on Twitch, I can't just take that,
that's okay,
put it somewhere else and then ask big hate community, go check it out. They're like, oh, we just saw you do that.
Right. The copy pasta method doesn't work unless you're a big time streamer.
Exactly. Literally exactly. And your community is your number one thing. They're the ones supporting you. They're the ones if they comment and like on your stuff on the other platforms, they're the ones who gets it out of the niche onto the For You page.
Right.
So other people like they are. So you gotta make stuff that is appealing to them. You can't just make hey, you just watch my stream.
Please go like, comment, and subscribe on my video.
Yes, exactly. Like you gotta make something that's original,
Right.
And even in the sense of like us having a talk right now, if we did this live and they'd be like, hey guys, we just posted to YouTube, you'd be like, I just watched the whole thing.
I'm not gonna watch.
Yeah, like I love you both, but like we're not gonna watch that. Dude. Like, we literally just watched it,
Right.
So it is that same sense of like, but I think you can only do the things properly if you set aside the time. Which for me, I'm coming into learning now. I'm like, oh man, you only have so far you can get by organically growing, I think, with streaming. So then you got to do stuff outside that raises that again. So then you can keep streaming and hit that next ceiling, or hit that next goal. But if you stream and you've been like, I've plateaued. Okay, well, you got to do something outside that raises that plateau. And then you can hit that plateau and just
keep like, on bumping up.
Exactly. If you get the perfect balance, it's like you're making stuff here. You're never going to hit the ceiling because you just keep raising it. I think that's the ideal goal with it is to, keep the balance in line, like keep stuff on other platforms, but also keep stuff going on your Twitch.
And it don't get discouraged too, because if you follow any of the big name streamers, you'll see even they will have lull moments where they lose momentum, or they lose the drive, or they lose the whatever. Like so it's everyone has these roller coaster moments where it's like their content's kicking ass and they're up top, and all of a sudden they need a mental break, or they just like kind of lose focus and they just like drop down, and then you see they come back and like so like it's part of being a human being. And so like it's just what it is, no matter your size.
The people got that way to be usually so big because they were able to figure out how to like often cope with a lot of that stuff. Like, man, it stinks switching games and dropping 5 viewers. Imagine the big one. Yeah, the big. That's what I'm saying. Like at small levels.
Yeah.
The big guys are like, dude, I switched games. I lost 30,000 viewers. It didn't stop me. I kept the entertainment going. And I'm like, it's you correlate it to like you gotta be entertaining at 10,000 people at 0 people.
Yep.
You gotta be able to be like, oh, I dropped 5. That's fine.
Those didn't want to be here, so let me entertain the people who do want to be here. The other 5 or whatever it is.
Exactly. Yep. The previous month or previous time doesn't determine. Like there's so many like. Take a Shroud level where he's like, we hit 100,000 subs, and then he's like, and then we dropped immediately in the next month to 30,000.
Right.
Like, small streamers big, bro. I dropped 10 subs this month, and I'm like, it's okay.
Right.
It's gonna happen. That's literally part of the game. Like in the beginning, you're like, what am I doing wrong? It's just like that's literally.
Dude, it's part of it. I'm at my lowest sub count I've ever been as a streamer. Like once I started streaming, like not when I started 0, obviously, but like the lowest amount, and I could care less, like because the streams are still vibing, like everything's still it's like it just is what it is, like you can't let it get to you.
Yeah, exactly. Like I always refer to it as the sub purge, end of the month sub purge. Thank you all for
that's a good one.
You log on one day, your number's here, you're like, cool, see you guys tomorrow. You log on the next day, you're like, how did we get here? It's like gifted subs right now, prime subs,
all of it, man. Yeah, they don't watch you for a while, whatever,
exactly. Like don't worry about it, keep doing your thing. Those numbers don't determine anything of your goal. Like only you get to determine your level of success with what you're doing. Those numbers don't get to determine it. Companies and partnerships don't get to determine it. Nothing like that. Your goals are your goals. If you're hitting what you like and you consider that success, that's what it is, and that's how you need to be to keep yourself happy. You can't let other people be telling like this is what dictates you're not doing as well. Right.
And don't look at Joe Blow and be like, oh man, I wish I was at their level. Like you got to be like
differently.
Everyone.
Exactly. Yeah. Everyone is. That's what I mean. Like they don't determine your success. That doesn't matter. You could be like, we were in the same boat a month ago. Now they're here. Doesn't matter. Don't worry about it. Focus on you. It's easier said than done, but it's one of those things you'll get low. Just remember to kick yourself in the head lightly, with that type of information here and there. And it's something you learn. You don't get that way in a week or in a month.
Nope. I wasn't like when I first started, I was like, oh my God, I'm looking at this person kicking ass and this person doing this. Man, I wish I could be there. I wish I could be that big, but it's like there's always someone else looking at you thinking the same thing. But you gotta put it into perspective. Like you got 20 viewers, you think I wish I had 60, and then someone with 2 viewers like, man, I wish I had 20 like this guy. Like it's all relative.
It's exactly, and that's like just keep focusing on you. That's often what I say. I'm like I focus on me, and I find that's the best way to be healthy. Like I'm not really trying to compare myself to others. I'm focusing on me. If I'm happy with what I'm doing at the end of the day, then I'm doing good.
Yep. And that's how you can be consistent too.
Also true.
All right. Where can people find you to gas you up, Noah?
Oh man. Well, okay. So I'm the same name mostly everywhere. I am twitch.tv/WhoBuiltTheArk. You can find me on all other social media platforms at
Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok. Instagram?
Instagram is also WhoBuiltTheArk.
I'll have links in the description down below.
Yeah, on Twitter, I think I have an underscore after my name because someone already had WhoBuiltTheArk.
God damn it.
Yeah, you'll still find me on with some band that had like a 3-month stint and had WhoBuiltTheArk as their name. But I'm WhoBuiltTheArk everywhere. You can find out, even if you want to search it, you can find it on my Twitch. All my links are there on every platform. Like everyone else, all my links are on every single platform. WhoBuiltTheArk, you'll find me. And yeah, just
what's your stream schedule?
As much as I can without burning out. I like to see, that's the thing. I often people like to stream so much. Yeah. I like streaming. That's the thing, and that's also a thing that I'm like, it's the easiest part. I say that I like streaming. I like it. So sometimes I'm like, okay, I did 7 hours, really good content. I'm like, but man, I'm just like, people are going to sleep. The viewer count's going down. It's not bad content. I just know other people are going to sleep, man. But it's still fun to hang out and so that I really like streaming. Some days I'm like, I'm gonna take the day off, and then people are like, you're streaming today. I'm like, well, I did everything I needed to do, and then I just wanted to hang out. I enjoy hanging out. It's a fun thing to do. So I stream pretty often. And I would say most of the time I won't say a set number. I usually say every day 3 p.m. but Eastern. But I'm just like, man, I'm streaming all the time. So I'm literally I'm always there. If I'm not there 1 second, I'm probably there the next. But
damn near daily.
Yeah, Yeah. But it's 3 p.m. Eastern is usually what I say. But all the time, you can find me Twitch, you can find me Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, join our Discord if you want. But like, it's all just about hanging out and having fun and, trying to have a good time.
You definitely bring the positive vibes. You and I have had a number of duo sessions. We've even played some squad sessions. We've had a few amateur tournament PUBG eSport tournament sessions. And honestly, like I'm impressed with you as both a streamer. You put on great content.
Thank you.
You're very off the cuff funny, and I can vibe with that. And you're really damn good at the game too, which is annoying because sometimes I run into you in solos, and I'm like, motherfucker, it's Noah. And I know I have, like, if I'm not sweating in a match, and then I see in the kill feed, I'm like, fuck, like I have to sweat when I find this guy now, like it pisses me off.
That's that's my goal. I want people to see the name. I want people to see, like, I usually wear like the pink pants. I want people to see it and be like, oh man, it's time to lock it down. It's time to, it's time to go in there. But to gas my own self up, but like don't doubt yourself either. CDome's out here. I see your content you create, man. I see you've made leaps and bounds. Like I honestly don't know how long it's been. Like I think I'm like, oh, we're really, but like if I really think about it, like you talk about the tournament, I was like, oh my god, I was like, that was so long. It was a
while ago. Yeah.
So I feel like I've seen you grow so much, and like you took your YouTube and just like launched it. I was like, dude found things that people cared about, and not only was putting it out consistently, but was putting it out in a way that I was like, this is a topic that I've seen covered a million times, but yet he has made this interesting and, fascinating to watch. He talked about like gun mechanics, gun bullet, drop off, whatever, things that have been covered a million times in PUBG.
Right.
But you found a way to convey it in a completely different sense that I was like, oh, I'm enjoying this. Like, I want to watch this. Like, I'm not, oops, I pulled my headphones out. But like, I was like, I'm not even going to tell him or comment or anything that I'm like, oh, bro, I watched your video. I'm like, I'm literally watching this, eating food just because I truly just enjoy what he's putting out there.
I appreciate that, man. You should get wireless. You probably can't hear us. He probably can't hear us.
I'm back.
You need to get wireless headsets like I do.
Yeah. I use a GoXLR, so there's only like two headsets that
Steel Series Nova Pro wireless. That's right, baby.
That would be them. Yep. And it's connected. The cable just walked it out.
Yep. Can't stand it.
But you're absolutely, like, you're crushing it on your
end, appreciate it, man. Sincerely, I do appreciate it. And hopefully the success for both of us will continue. Sure. If you guys and gals have enjoyed the video and the content, please be sure to, of course, give it a thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe, share it with a buddy, all that kind of good stuff. I'll have all of Noah's Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. All those links will be in the description of this video. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're listening to us on a audio only podcast on like Spotify, iTunes, or whatever, give the podcast a thumbs up, give it a 5-star, whatever the heck the ratings are. It really does help us grow. Certainly do appreciate it. So hope you all enjoyed the conversation today, and Noah and I will see y'all in our next live stream or videos. Take care and have a great day. Peace.